Interesting how promotions work.
Yeah.
Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. So Tom Pop and I are sitting here, and I say, "Did you see the fight on Saturday night?" And he said, "The guy that got knocked down, mental health guy."
The mental health guy? The guy who got up for everyone with mental health?
Yeah, but he said, "No, I didn't see the fight." Like,
I only saw that.
This is how narratives work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, in this day and age especially, there's way too much information out there, right? Like, there's no way you could see every television show or watch every sporting event or know every scandal. So when something happens, like, the blurb, the little summary that I have absorbed.
My one buddy watched it on Instagram. He posted a thing, and it was very heartfelt that he got up for all the people with mental health.
Yeah.
And I read that, and I feel like I experienced the whole thing. But, it's funny. I don't know if he won or lost. I know he got up.
It's a draw.
It was a draw.
Yeah, it was a draw.
Oh, okay.
And I don't have a firm opinion on whether or not the draw was justified because I only watched it once. I thought that Tyson Fury won most of the rounds except the 2 that he got knocked down in.
Tyson's the anti-mental health guy.
No, he's the white guy.
Oh, he's the white guy.
He's the white guy that got knocked down.
Okay.
And Deontay Wilder, he's strange. In that he has like the most freaky punching power I think I've ever seen ever.
That's what I heard too.
He's not a big guy. I mean, for a heavyweight, he's 212 pounds.
He looks pretty big though.
Oh, he's jacked.
Yeah,
but he's shredded. He has no fat on him whatsoever.
Yeah.
His back is where all the power is, and that's where all his muscle is. Like you see his back, it's just fucking just a bundle of snakes.
When I saw the clip, it was like he knocked him out and then like backed up and did a little dance.
And Tyson got up.
Yeah, that guy looked pretty badass.
That guy Wilder punches so hard. And that was in the 12th and final round.
Oh, that was?
Of a fight where he was mostly losing. He was mostly getting boxed up. It was mostly getting outboxed. But then he would land, and he landed real hard in like, what was it, like the 8th or the 9th? Something like that. Something like that. He dropped him. But that wasn't a big knockdown.
Right.
He knocked him down, but he got up pretty quick, and he was okay. But in the 12th, he fucking blasted him.
Right.
He hit him with a right hand, and then as he was falling, he hit him with a left hook on the chin as he was going down. And he was laid flat on his back with his arms down. He looked unconscious.
Yeah, he really did.
And then he rose like Lazarus. Just, whoa.
And he looked pretty sharp when he got on his feet.
He won the rest of the round.
Yeah.
He won the rest of the round and stung him.
Yeah.
He stung Deontay Wilder. It was crazy.
Because of the mental health kids.
Yes. He was doing it for the mental health people.
You think that's really what he was thinking when you're getting up off the canvas? I'm doing it for the kids.
I would never doubt him.
Yeah, I mean,
because he really does. He's a very unusual guy, and he donated his entire purse to charity.
Wow,
all of it, like $8 million.
Really?
Yeah, he donated all of it to charity.
Holy cow!
Yeah,
that's great.
He's a fucking really unusual guy. He's been in here. He was in the podcast when he was gearing up for the fight.
So I should call him the super nice mental health guy.
He's a very nice guy. Very nice guy.
Is he big? Like
giant, 6'9".
6'9". So when you're sitting here, you feel like
he's huge.
He's a giant.
But he's a super sweetheart. Very friendly guy.
Jeez.
Yeah, really well spoken. He's got that like heavy traveler's accent. He's a traveler.
Had he made money before?
Oh yeah, he's a world champion.
So he
was a world champion.
He's got bank.
Mm-hmm. And almost killed himself in a Ferrari. Almost committed suicide. He was just headed towards a bridge. He was just gonna fucking either slam into the bridge or drive off the bridge.
That was his
he was going 160 miles an hour, like headed towards the bridge, and he changed his mind. That's what he looked like before he started his comeback.
What?
Yeah, he was 300 pounds.
What?
300 plus, right? How much did he say he was?
I want to say 485, but
yeah, something crazy. Because I was saying 300, but that doesn't make any sense.
180 kilograms, so 180 times 2.2 is.
That's like, what is that?
It's close to 400 pounds, I think.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He's
so he was champ, then he fell off and became that chubby?
Well, what happened was he beat Vladimir Klitschko, who was a long time heavyweight champion. I mean, Vladimir Klitschko was the champ forever.
Yeah.
And he outboxed him, like soundly outboxed him and beat him, and then was like, now what? And went into a depression and started drinking hard, partying hard, a lot of cocaine, and just fucked his life up.
Because he achieved what he wanted to achieve.
I mean, he's calling it mental health, because of depression and all those things. But part of me wants to say that a lot of that is, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I've never been inside of his head. But when you're doing that much coke and drinking that much, that is got to be a major factor in why you feel like shit. And then the letdown of this incredible achievement, becoming the heavyweight champion of the world, beating this guy who hadn't been beat in a long time, many years.
Yeah.
And then, just partying too hard and then getting into a horrible funk and then deciding to come back.
There's always that part of it where, you know that you have there are those personalities and there's genetics involved, and it gets you into the drugs. But then the drugs start going to work on your brain, and then it becomes something different. It becomes, it's no longer your own consciousness that's working. It's this sponge that just absorbed all of these toxins, and who knows what's misfiring, what's happening at that point.
We say that as we drink wine. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Happy holidays.
But
Thank
it's
you
the
for
holidays.
this. Yes.
We do a little heroin in the holidays. Whatever. A little fucking meth.
I was going to bring you some wine today. This was nice of you to open this.
This is good stuff, whatever this is. I don't know jack shit about wine.
I learned a great method for Thanksgiving about wine.
What's the
I
method?
went to this place in L.A. It's called 2020 Wine. It's like this. It looks like Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's on the 405, and you just walk in. It's just wine. This huge room, racks and stuff. It's so elegant. It's just like this great place to be. It's cool. It's like temperature-wise. It's great, and it's intimidating because they have, I don't know that much about wine. I want to, and I realized this was my strategy, and it worked out perfectly. I went to the guy who works there, and I said, look, I have 12 people coming over for Thanksgiving. Show me a $20 bottle of wine or less that I can buy a bunch of for my friends. That's going to blow everyone away. And he lit up like a Christmas tree. It's like, this is what he wants to do. It's like, yeah, there's $200 bottles of wine. We know what that is. I'm going to come with me. And there it is. And he took me into the back. And he found these, he's like, this one's from Spain, $18. No one knows it exists. The best wine I've had all year. Another one, this Italian Barolo that nobody knows about. And look at this, it's only $12 a bottle because nobody knows we have extra cases. It became like of course, that's what a wine guy wants to do, turn you on.
Is the wine thing that a name is just as important as how good it is?
Sure.
Yeah.
Like when people, an Opus One or a Camus, or we all know that because it's like the Mercedes of wines.
Cigars are like that as well. I know more about cigars. I don't know much about cigars, but I know more about cigars than I know about wine.
Uh-huh.
And everybody wants a Cuban.
Everybody wants a Cuban. A Cohiba.
Yeah. Oh, Monte Cristo.
Cohiba.
Yeah. Everybody wants something that's hard to get.
Yeah. But this was, I was like, this is how you should do it. Find a good wine shop and go to the guy who's waiting to be asked that question.
Yeah.
And he's so excited to show you what he learned. And he works in a wine shop, so he's not spending $500 for a bottle either. He knows the good shit.
My buddy Mark Delagrate and I were in Florida. We were eating at this very nice Italian restaurant with a bunch of people from the UFC. And we just said, let's get a nice bottle of wine. You ever have a nice bottle of wine? I'm like, I've had good bottles of wine, but this place had bottles of wine from the 70s.
Right.
So I said, all right, let's go fucking crazy. And I bought a bottle of wine from 1974.
Oh, my God.
This is better.
This is better.
This one's better. It was weird. I mean, I guess if you're a real connoisseur, part of it is Roberto Duran was the champ when this was bottled.
Right.
There's stuff about it.
Yeah.
Where,
I was in the third grade.
There's something
this
about it.
This is for Mrs. McMillan.
But it felt like it had less alcohol, and I think that's one of the things that maybe happens. The flavor starts to morph and change. It just felt less potent.
Yeah.
Almost more watered down. It wasn't that good.
Well,
I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it.
Right. And that, and you probably paid a lot for it.
It was like $1,000.
Yeah.
I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I think it was $1,000 bottle of wine.
I'm telling you,
So stupid.
on Thanksgiving it was $18 bottles of wine.
It's probably way better
blowing
than what
our
I
heads
had.
off. Yeah.
Probably way better.
So great.
Yeah.
They're I try and learn about them, and there are certain wines they say, there's certain Brunellos that those should age, and those you can go 20 years, and they'll get even better at 30. And then there's other wines at that same amount of time, they'll go sour and they'll get funky. So it's so hard to tell.
There's apps There's an app that I have. I've never fucking opened it once, but I downloaded it. It's like Vino something.
Vivino.
Oh, you almost went down with that. That would have been
right on the board.
Oh, it's got a powerful lid. Nice, because that was like headed towards the board.
James, he's not even drinking water.
I don't fuck with laptops in front of me anymore. I've learned my lesson.
I was doing a show on Saturday. My friend had a laptop. She had a glass of water and a salad on like the keyboard. I'm like, what do you do? How
Why would
confident
you do that?
are
It's
you?
like having a gun on your baby's head.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
sit the gun here. Rest your head on the gun.
Separate it.
Yeah.
No, but this was such a great way to do it. I mean, there's so like you can focus in on one kind of wine and really kind of learn it, and that's a lot. Like that would be a lot of studying. To learn all of wine and like go into a fancy restaurant and be like, I'm just going to pick from the menu. You can't.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. I think it's like it's one of those things where you have to you really have to talk to someone who's put in the time.
Yes. Totally.
Yeah.
That's
Like here's something that I know a lot about. Pool cues.
Right.
I know a lot about pool cues.
Right.
So if you come to me and you say, "Hey, I'm thinking about buying this pool cue. What do you think?" I'll go, "Okay. Well, here's what you need to know. Like that's a very expensive pool cue, and it's expensive because it's a collector's item because the guy who makes it is dead. However, in terms of like how it plays, it does not play any better than a pool cue that costs one small fraction of what that costs. And then I could turn you on to a bunch of custom pool cue makers that make a really good cue for like a fraction of what you would pay for that cue. And I'm telling you, like you would play with this cue and be happy with it for the rest of your life. But it'll cost you, $500 as opposed to there's cues that are $15,000, $20,000 and up. It's like the really ornate and beautiful ones.
And this is a lifetime, your adult lifetime of learning about this.
Yeah, oh man,
you've been immersed.
I started playing pool in 1990-ish, 91. That's when I probably bought my first pool cue. So
what's a good pool cue for bumper pool? my neighbors had a bumper pool table when I was a kid. It was badass.
It's pretty stupid.
It was so stupid.
Such a dumb game.
My friend, the older brother Mark, he was the dominant one because he was able to jump it over the bumpers and get on the other
it's
side.
Called cheating. Yeah, cheating. Yeah, that jumping is a very controversial thing in the world of pool.
You're not allowed to jump?
Well,
you can, but it's hacked.
There's jumping and then there's bar table jumping, right? Like when you play with people on a bar, they think they're jumping the pool cue, but what they're doing is they're scooping under the cue ball with their tip. Like they go under it and it sort of makes the cue ball pop up in the air. It's really like miscuing is what it's like. It's a foul. The way you're supposed to jump a ball is shoot down on it and make it hop over. What's the matter, Jamie?
Have you seen this before?
Yeah, that's
the most expensive?
That's a McDermott. It's like called the Excalibur or some shit like that.
That's a pool cue?
It is, but it isn't. It's foolish.
It looks like a sickle that the Grim Reaper comes to take you away with.
Well, this was a cue that was made a long time ago. It was made back in the fucking 90s or something. But that's not the most expensive pool cue in the world.
Is that whole thing the cue?
It says it sold for $150,000.
That's not the most expensive cue in the world. No, the most expensive cue in the world is a Gina cue. Gina Q is actually right here in North Hollywood. They call it the most expensive cue in the world.
Is that whole thing the cue?
It's nonsense. That's not really.
Or is that a stand and a cue?
See, it's a cue. All the blades and everything like that.
What would you do with that?
It's nonsense. I'm telling you, it's nonsense.
It is nonsense.
It's nonsense. It's like having a car and you decide to glue diamonds on it. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
This is the most expensive car in the world. It costs $1 billion. Shut the fuck up. That cue weighs 9.5 pounds. Okay, you know what a real cue weighs? A very heavy cue, very heavy.
Yeah.
Is 21 ounces. Like if you play with it, like if you find out that a pro plays with a 21 ounce cue, you're like, wow.
That's
like
heavy.
Rarely a guy will play with a 24-ounce cue, and you're like, wow, that guy's crazy.
And what was
that fucking thing is 9.5 pounds.
That's stupid.
That piece of shit.
That's like the women that get the gigantic hefty hippity hops for boobs. It's like everyone's getting big, and then that one you're like, all right.
They get like triple Z boobs. Yeah. That's just not a real pool cue.
What's the one in North Hollywood?
Well, he makes Gina. His name is Ernie Gutierrez, and he makes all sorts. I have one of his cues.
Oh yeah,
that's Ernie right there.
Look
he
at him.
makes. I mean,
wasn't he married to Cher?
No, that's Sonny Bono. That guy's dead. You're an asshole. I gotta end this podcast now. Ernie is. He's like a real innovator in the world of pool cues. He makes beautiful, beautiful cues.
That is beautiful.
But he had one that he made that was filled with like I don't want to say what the material was, but I believe it
Gummy
had an
bears?
ivory handle. The handle was made out of solid ivory, and I think
Oh.
it had gold and all sorts of other shit in it. But it went for $500,000. It's worth $500,000, but I think the deal is that he won't sell it. He's very wealthy.
Wow.
He does really well.
All
But
from
he's-
that? All from making
Oh
pool
yeah,
cues?
yeah. His pool cues, like in Japan and also all throughout Asia, they're really revered. Like he
Wow.
can sell his stuff anywhere. His cues are very expensive on the aftermarket too.
It makes them all by hand, like that kind of thing?
He designs them all, and then he uses computer-controlled machines. They're called CNC machines to put everything together and piece it so that everything's perfect.
Wow.
Yeah, but they're all like his designs and.
Is that like 3D printing?
No.
No?
It's what it is like you have a design and you put it into this computer and you put the I don't know 100% of the process, but
Right.
you put the specifications like how wide you want inlays to be and they make them exactly the same size and the points fit exactly the same way.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all
Impressive.
super complicated stuff. But the point is, like, if you were a guy who wanted to buy a pool cue and you just, went to a website,
Right.
you're lost. You're lost like me trying to buy wine.
In a wine
Like,
shop. Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. This is good wine, though. What
It's
is
very
this?
good. This says Chateau Vigneault.
Ooh, I didn't know you spoke French.
I do. Oui, oui. You see, Paris is going crazy right now. They've been having these crazy riots.
No, what's up?
Every time I think about visiting Paris, there's some new shit that goes down over there.
I know. It kind of feels like a little like a jewel box that is about to explode all
It's
the
not
time.
good, man.
Is it-
It's not good.
Is it workers? What kind of riot?
Well, the weird thing is everyone who's rioting is wearing those reflective vests.
What?
Like, see that? Yeah.
That's
they're
Paris
wearing
right
these- Yep. They're wearing these yellow reflective vests and lighting things on fire and smashing stores. So, like,
Who
these
is?
Gucci and these protesters. They've been going. Scroll back up so
Oh
we can
my
read
God,
about what
that
it
looks
says.
violent.
It says 17 pictures. Oh, it's terrible, and it keeps getting worse. It keeps getting worse. I mean, it started November 17th when French drivers sporting yellow vests led a demonstration. Apparently, it has to do with oil prices, rising fuel prices.
280,000 people.
4 people have died, hundreds have been injured, thousands of dollars worth of property has been damaged. The protests started November 17th when French drivers sporting yellow vests led a demonstration of 280,000 people across the country to push back against the rising taxes on gas and diesel.
What?
French President Emmanuel
Macron. I love a nice Macron.
as part of his many economic reforms, announced the gas taxes early this year to minimize France's reliance on fossil fuels. That's a fucking shitty way to
Jeez.
handle, reliance on fossil fuels. You do the opposite, you cunt face.
What?
You don't charge people money. You don't charge people extra money and make it more expensive.
Then they'll use it less.
You give them subsidies for electric cars, you stupid prick.
Yes.
Don't you understand the American way, you piece of shit? Jesus, I love talking like
Well,
real authoritative about things I know nothing about. What does it say?
I really
Scroll
believe
back up
you
there.
did.
Scroll back to where it was.
Yeah.
The price of fuel, that's it. 30 cents a gallon. They went crazy. 30 cents a gallon. They're trying to kill people. Gas already costs about $7 per gallon in
Wow.
France. Fuck that, man.
So it's just going to break people's backs, and they're not
Oh,
going to be able to drive
Do you
to their
remember
bread
when
shop.
Bush was leaving office and they jacked the fucking price of gas way up?
Yeah.
Dude, but there's people that were panicking.
Yeah.
You know?
September 11th, there was like lines everywhere because we thought it was
right.
going to just empty. There's no
That's
more gas.
right.
That's what
Yeah.
people thought.
But
Right.
the price didn't. I don't think the price
Some
radically
people,
went up.
Some places were charging like $25 a gallon.
Assholes. They should go to jail.
that's so gross.
Assholes.
But that's kind of insane. Like that, people used to have riots like that when wheat would spike and people couldn't eat.
Whoa,
like
look at this. They lighting cars on
Oh
fire.
my God.
That's a shitty little car anyway. The guy probably wanted to light it on fire.
Yeah, finally. He's not even part of the protests. He's just happened to light his
somebody
car on fire
was
that day.
telling me about this. Somebody was telling me about this. I was at a little kids party. And I was talking to one of the dads, and he was telling me about this thing that happened. I think it was in Northern California. It was a fire. Fuck, it might not have been Northern California. It was a fire, and initially they thought it was just a fire, but then the CEO and his vice president both of their houses caught fire. Mm-hmm. So then they thought it was like an attack on both people. And then they realized, no, it was a murder. And one of the guys killed the guy and his family and then lit his house on fire and then went back to his house and lit his own house on fire to make it look like they were going after both of them.
Oh. And he's the only one that survived?
Yeah. Whoops.
That just happened in New Jersey. A guy...
Was it in New Jersey? Maybe that was it.
A guy murdered his whole family. His own family.
Yeah. Oh.
And then lit the house on fire.
Then maybe that's it. Maybe I'm getting a fucked up version of the story.
I get drunk at kid parties, too.
Oh, it's the only way to go by. Family massacre disguised as a massive fire in New Jersey. Yeah, that's it. This is the story. So make that a little larger, please. It says there was more than a brotherly bond between Paul and Keith. Yeah, that's right.
What part of New Jersey? That's where I'm from.
Vacation together and settled about 11 miles from each other in the suburbs of New Jersey. But 2 days before Thanksgiving, a horrific chain of events would forever tear them apart.
Oh, his brother?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh,
so I was getting a really fucked up version of the story. Paul, how do you say that name? Caniero?
Caniero.
Caniero.
The Caniero brothers.
Killing his youngest brother, his sister-in-law, and their children.
Oh.
This is what's fucked up. Like, how does a guy go from never killing anybody to killing a wife and daughters?
So he killed his brother and his brother's whole family.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I thought he killed his own family.
Then he set his own home on fire with his wife and daughter inside. Tried to make it look as if the whole family had been targeted. His family got out of the home safely.
Can you imagine the panic? Like,
what the fuck,
you just murdered these people. You run back
don't
and you
scroll,
light
don't scroll. Go back.
You light your own house on fire and you're like... Can you imagine, like, while you're lighting your house on fire, thinking, like, the intensity of, this is going to work. I'm going to get out of this. This is where the plan goes. And poof.
Well, what's really fucked up is, how does a person kill? I mean, I understand you're mad at a guy and you fucking hate each other. Fuck you. And you start fighting and then you wind up killing each other. How do you kill his wife and daughters? How do you do that? What switch goes on? Like, is he just trying to...
Yeah, because he's just walking around.
Go back up. It says it's killed his sister-in-law. It said he's accused of killing his younger brother, his sister-in-law, and their children. Like, how many children? Like, who? Hey, he killed kids. Yeah. So this is a guy who's never murdered anybody.
Just walking around Colts Neck Township, New Jersey.
Yeah, he's a businessman. Probably never done anything really major in his life.
Right. Probably was at a business meeting 2 days before with some guy.
What the fuck, man?
Just living his life, talking about the Giants.
Like, what the fuck? What is that?
His wife and his 2 daughters. Oh,
several twists in the case have rattled
look at
law
that.
enforcement.
Look at that.
What?
He then allegedly set his own home on fire with his wife and his daughters inside.
Did you not hear me say that?
I thought you were talking about his brother's family.
No. He killed his brother and his family, set the house on fire, then lit his own house on fire to make it look like he was being targeted.
I knew that, but I didn't know he had kids in his house.
His wife and his daughters were inside.
Oh, my God.
To try to make it look as if his whole family's being targeted, his brother and him.
Oh, my God.
His family got out of the home safely. Wow. Fucking unbelievable.
Think about his kids right now. We're like, what did Dad? What?
Yeah.
What?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God. What
Family
a monster.
of 4 was killed before sunrise. Scroll up there. Somewhere between midnight and 5 a.m., Paul Caniero was walking around his brother's $1.5 million Colts Neck home armed with a knife and a gun.
His
brother's been in front of the White Mansion when a deadly confrontation unfolded. Paul fired multiple shots, striking Keith. Fucking A.
When you got mad at me for not following the story clearly, did you feel like you could kill me?
No, not yet. I need more. Jesus Christ. He walked inside, found Keith's wife, Jennifer. He shot and stabbed her, and then stabbed their children, Jesse, 11, and Sophia, 8. What the fuck, man?
Hell?
Then he took some documents and set a fire in the basement.
What were they doing the week before?
He fucking stabbed an 8-year-old dude, an 8-year-old girl.
In her sleep.
How the fuck does someone...
in her sleep.
Did it say in her sleep?
Well, it was 5 a.m.
Doesn't matter, man. There's gunshots in the house. The kids might have gotten up. Oh, my God.
Good Lord.
What a monster.
A monster. What was this guy like the month before? Like, what the hell?
Look at that normal-looking house. Shit, that is the normalest looking normal house ever.
Do you believe that there is always a presence of good and evil in the world? Like that it's not just evil deeds. What this guy did was evil. But do you believe that there is a real presence of evil, that it's like a thing that takes over people or takes over, you know what I mean?
Like
Good and evil, is that more than just people's actions, or is it like a force of nature? Is there a good force of nature and an evil force of nature that is constantly using people and using things as a catalyst or as a instrument?
Well, let's break this down. I don't think nature is the right way to approach it, because I don't think there's good or evil in nature. I think in nature is actually far more moral than humans are, because with nature is just about survival, right? It's predators and prey, and they kill things and eat things. But when animals in nature kill, like what they call surplus killings, where wolves will kill like 18 elk and not eat them, they're just going on their instincts. These things are there to be killed, and they can get them because they can't run away. Maybe it's thick snow or something like that. So they just can't help it. They just tear them apart because their instincts they drive them to kill, because that's how they survive. That's how their family survives. They're killing, and they're eating these elk, and this is just what they do. And even if they kill a bunch of them where they can't eat them, their instinct is to kill, because that's how they survive. It's natural. It's normal. With humans, it's very different, because with humans there's consequences, right? And there's law, and there's other humans finding out. So there's deception, and then there's selfishness, and there's the fear of getting caught, and then there's your own survival instincts in terms, like, you don't want to get locked up in jail, you don't want to get caught for something. So I think, if I had to guess, that this guy didn't think he was going to kill this guy's wife and family. Probably didn't even think he was going to kill this guy. They probably got into a heated argument, and they're stupid. And he's a guinea. That's my people.
Yeah.
They do stupid. Your people too.
Guinea-ero.
They do stupid shit. They're fiery people, and those fiery people. I swore off Italian girls when I was 21. I had an Italian girl take a swing at me when I was 21. I was like, that's it for me. I'm done. I'm like, I'm not hitting one back. This is just too fucking kooky. Some men and some women are fucking crazy, and I believe in epigenetics. I see how wacky my fucking own kids are.
What's epigenetics?
Epigenetics. Well, let's Google it so I don't bust up the actual definition. But essentially, it's the way I'm using it is that there's certain traits that are not just environmental traits; they're inherited traits, and that we'll pull it up here.
Right.
The study the changes in organisms caused by the modification of gene expression rather than the alteration of the genetic code itself. There's better words than that. There's better definitions than that. The study of heritable changes in gene expression. There you go. Active versus inactive genes that do not involve changes to the underlying DNA sequence. A change in the phenotype without a change in the genotype, which in turn affects how cells read the genes.
Oh, great. Now I know less about it.
Interesting. I think there's traits, and this is a very controversial yet very fascinating field of study, because what they're doing is they're finding out that children that are twins, that are separated by when they're babies, they go into different foster homes and they're raised by different families, have incredibly remarkably similar characteristics, lives, loves, desires, like what they're interested in, incredibly similar.
Yeah.
And they're suspecting that a lot of the we are a combination of nature and nurture. I think that's safe to say. And I think that a lot of things happen to kids when they're young that shape their life, whether it's physical or sexual abuse, whether it's exposure to violence, or whether it's positive things like love and encouragement and inspiration. But there's certain information, I think, that's transferred from the parent to the child while the child is in the womb. And during the conception of the child, I think there's traits that come from the father and traits that come from the mother. Biologically. And I think this is undeniable across species. And I think this is why dogs, like my dog has no fucking idea who his parents are. He doesn't give a shit.
Right.
He's, like,
he's not looking for him.
He's not looking for him. Yeah.
He's not on 23andme.com.
Exactly. I grabbed that leash and he's like, "We running today, Dad?" And what are you doing, Jamie?
It's so
That
funny.
movie. Have you watched it yet? The Three Identical Strangers. These
No,
guys are
I
separated at
haven't.
birth.
But it's about this exact very thing, right?
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
No, I've started to like watch the trailers and stuff. But
Was it good?
it's not on Netflix.
Was it
I've
supposed
been
to be
waiting for it
good?
to come on Netflix.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, your dog's not like, wonder what my dad's doing now.
Yeah.
Why did he leave me?
Yeah. Whoa, maybe we could have an awesome house together in the woods. No, but he's got certain instincts, like he lifts up his leg to piss on things. You know, he smells things, like, and he chases squirrels. Like there's things that are, and he's a retriever, right? He's a golden retriever, so he brings things back. I mean, I had pit bulls before, and they'll bring things back, but you got to teach them.
Right.
They don't want to bring things back. They definitely don't want to let go.
Right.
What they want to do is play tug of war with shit. Like, but he lets things go, and it's like natural for him.
That soft mouth.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
I have
very
a black
soft
lab.
mouth.
It does the same thing.
They hold things gently because they're used to retrieving ducks and animal and pheasants that people shoot. That's what they were raised for.
Yeah.
So he brings things back. Like when I get him up in the morning, right? He stays in this little room, and when I get up in the morning at 7 to take my kids to school and all that stuff, when I open up the door, he whines like crazy. He gets crazy, wags his tail. Ooh, so happy to see you. But the first thing he does is pick up a toy.
Yeah.
First thing, he picks up a stuffed animal and comes to me with the stuffed animal in his mouth. Like this is not something that we taught him.
Yeah.
But this is something
and golden retrievers all around the world doing the same exact thing.
Yep, all around the world. All around the world.
The same exact thing.
There's certain traits that they've, and I believe that Italians, my people, my people. I'm not saying this
Mine
about
too.
Yeah, and yours too. I'm mostly Italian. They're savage folk. This is just a fact, man.
Yeah.
It's a fact. There's
a streak.
There's a streak. It goes back to the Romans. That's what I really absolutely 100% believe.
Yeah.
And that I think there are certain civilizations that have a longer history of being civilized and less violence. And I think when you're dealing with folks that have a real history of violence in their culture, and that this translates generation to generation and transfers down to the children.
Right.
And I think this guy is part of that. I mean, it's like it's not a coincidence that the Italian mob is so ruthlessly brutal, or that the Russian mob is so ruthlessly brutal.
Excuse me. No, for sure. There's definitely that part of it. And then there's the other part of it that, like you said, there's the nurture part of it. Who knows what was going on in this guy's life that, so here we have two Italian brothers, right?
Yeah.
Raised the same way, Italian hot streak, all this thing.
And they're working together.
One brother decided to burn the house down and slaughter the family. The other Italian guy didn't have that in his to-do list.
But not necessarily, because I don't know if they planned it out or if he did it just because, he had a knife on him and a gun. Maybe he was one of those crazy assholes that brought a knife and a gun everywhere. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, who knows?
But they were in business together. And, people in business together,
it's not good.
They get crazy and they get real resentful, and, they think one person's not doing their fair share, or one person fucks up a deal, or one person's costing them money. And
yeah, now who knows?
But how the fuck do you kill each other?
So
how do you stab a baby, man? How do you stab an 8-year-old daughter?
Well, you take it in your hand.
Huh.
Yeah, I have no idea. But the Italians also like wine. More wine, please.
Oh, someone's drunk. I'll have to give you one of these 0% alcohol Heinekens. These are supposed to be the most delicious. I've never had it. I'm going to try one of these. This is supposed to be the most delicious non-alcoholic beer. Everybody was recommended. They said that if you want to try a non-alcoholic beer that doesn't suck, get this Heineken 0.0. So
Heineken 0.0.
Yeah, it's supposed
Cheers.
to be the shit.
Tastes like Heineken.
It does.
There's literally no difference.
Pretty damn good. For non-alcoholic beer, it doesn't have that weird, I'm lying to myself, funk to it.
Yeah, it doesn't have that weird aftertaste.
If I was a junkie, I would not want to try
right.
opiate-free heroin.
Yeah, it tastes just like it.
It just doesn't seem like it'd be a smart move. But alcoholics will drink non-alcoholic beer.
Walk into a liquor store, buy this non-alcoholic beer.
You're around.
Talk to the guy
You're
behind the
demons.
counter.
You're literally at the gate of hell.
Yeah.
And the fucking demons are reaching out. And you're like, no, thank you. I just have this 0.
Let me just test myself.
I think people who are clean are cool with taking CBD. Like, is that
It's a good question. Well, the marijuana thing is different because I think for the vast majority of human beings, obviously there's a lot of biological diversity, but for the vast majority of human beings, I do not think that marijuana is physically addictive. I think it's entirely possible that for some people it is. But I think for the vast majority of people, it is not physically addictive. It's more psychologically addictive. So I think it's a different thing. So if they're taking CBD, it depends on how they're taking it. If they're rolling up a CBD joint,
right? You can take dab hits of CBD, which is a little extra.
Do they do that?
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay.
Oh well.
But doesn't some CBD have a little bit of THC?
That's what I was going to go with. That
Right.
Some of it.
Well, this shit has the tiniest amount of alcohol. It says alcohol free, but I think it's like
What are the calories?
0.04.
Alcohol-free beer with natural flavorings.
Do you know Heineken is one of the few beers that you can drink if you are a celiac? It does not have wheat. It's not a wheat-based beer. So if you're gluten-free, you can drink Heineken.
Oh,
Maybe not if you're a celiac, but definitely if you're gluten-free.
that's not bad.
Yeah, I like it.
That's not bad at all.
It's not bad.
half
But
the
back-
calories of standard.
Half the calories of a standard beer.
Yeah.
So those other calories are just pure alcohol.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder if there's like there's one episode of the Opie and Anthony show. Now that I remember this, oh my God, I forgot about this. We gave this gal, they had this, I think her name was Stalker Patty. I think that was her name.
Oh, yeah, I remember
We
that.
gave this crazy, you know how radio shows have these regulars?
Yeah.
They're always coming
the
to the
whack
studio.
pack. Yeah.
Well, they gave this one gal a breath strip, like a standard Listerine breath strip. And this is back in the day when I used to get pot breath strips that would fuck you up so hard. I remember I gave a half of one to Tom Segura and we flew to Florida to do gigs together. And by the time we landed, he's like, dude, I want to tell you something. I almost didn't make it. I was almost telling these people to turn this flight around.
Started freaking
He
out.
was freaking out. Half of a breath strip would put you
Oh my
in
God.
an alternative dimension. It was so strong. So we gave this gal a regular breast strip. There's a video of it online.
Found it. Yeah.
Ari
Oh.
It's
standing
it's like an hour long.
Yeah, don't.
That had no.
So, yeah.
Had no weed in it.
So Ari gave her this breath strip, and then Ari proceeded to talk to her, and she was like talking about how high she was, and she's so fucked up she couldn't go anywhere. But we all knew that she was sober.
That's
but
funny.
she was. When you're a person who's like a whack packer,
Right.
There's a high
Something
chance
wrong.
there's an issue that's not being resolved.
Yes.
This is not
which makes it hard to listen to, frankly.
This is not a yes. But with an actualized human being, that would be the term.
Yeah.
This is not an actualized human being.
Right.
This is not someone who's got their shit together.
No.
They're reading self-help books and fucking getting up at 5 and doing yoga. No.
They're just trying to get through the day.
They're barely getting through,
Yeah.
and they found this thing that makes them that they cling to.
Yeah.
It's those characteristics are fascinating to me because you find them in other things.
What do you mean?
Those characteristics of these people that find something to belong to, and then they become a thing. They become a part of that thing. You would find those people at pool halls. You find those people at martial arts places. You find those people that hang out at comedy clubs. It's like they're a little off, but they find a thing.
Yeah.
That becomes the thing that they do all the time.
Even if they're not like the comedian, they'll hang out at the Comedy Cellar.
Yes.
Right.
You know those folks, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I totally get it. I mean, that's community.
Yes.
Like, just want to belong somewhere. We all want that thing.
Right.
Of just, that's where I go. And I know those faces and they
Yeah.
know me. And maybe I'm not totally a part of it, but I can go to the pool hall and
Yes.
feel like I was wanted on my home.
Yes. The pool hall was a perfect place for that because it was a hangout. Like a lot of people weren't playing.
Right.
So if you had like 3 or 4 tables going, 3 or 4 tables would be like 6 or 8 people playing pool, but there might also be 5 or 6 people just hanging out, maybe playing cards, maybe
Right.
just buying coffee and maybe ordering a sandwich or something like that, and just sitting there eating.
It's important, that's. I was reading a whole article about that by David Brooks the other day, and he was saying that economically we're richer than we've ever been as a country, and even in the last couple of years, like poor people, like everyone's standard of living has gone up, which I wasn't really clear on. I thought that only the rich people were getting richer, but everybody was kind of being lifted up. But we're unhappier than ever before, and the life expectancy is lower than ever before, and we're killing ourselves at rates that are higher than ever before. And he was saying that it's that lack of community, that we don't go to church anymore. We don't belong to those things that gave us meaning every day in our town. And you used to go to church, and you'd go to the pool hall, or you need that sense of belonging. And work is a big part of it. And people now are in this gig economy, and they're working Uber, they're working Seamless, they're doing different things. They're isolated, they're by themselves, they're not working with other people. And he really believes that it's that lack of community and that lack of institutions is why we're very, very unhappy as a country right now.
It makes sense to me. It makes sense to me as a person who's a part of a vital community, as a comedian.
Yeah.
Like I was talking, Jeff Ross was here the other day with Dave Attell, and one of the things that he said that really struck with me, he said, I almost feel like I'm a comedian more than I'm an American. I'm like a comedian first, I'm an American second.
Right.
And I was like, yeah. Like if you're at the airport and you run into Dave Attell or whoever it is, like it's like there's a light upon them that comes down from heaven.
Exactly.
It's like one of mine.
Hey.
Yeah.
You just embrace them. That's why I would always get suspicious of comics who didn't embrace me. Like as soon as you said, like I was like, there's something weird with this guy.
Yeah.
There's something like
or
off.
Comics that don't have any comic friends.
Yeah,
There's
very
a few
weird.
of those. They're fucking real strange, and they're always super selfish.
It's I can't even like figure out exactly what it is, but I'm just like, I know that's not one of the good ones.
Yeah, especially if someone's like a successful comedian. That's why it's really weird. Like you have the opportunity to hang out with some of the most fun people in the world.
My God.
And you're a peer of theirs.
And you give them a pass. It's like family. It's like, no, if I did this gig in Colorado once, and just by chance, it was like this corporate thing, and there was another comic on the bill who I won't mention. And I was like, oh, that's cool. We're in the middle of like nowhere, and at least there's another comedian here.
Yeah.
He did his set, split, didn't talk to me. Just like there was no. I was like your dog. Like, hey, let's play. And he just split. I was like, all right, that guy's weird. That guy's there's something, and it's true.
I think it's less common now than it was back in the day. And this is another thing that I talked about with Jeff and Dave, is we were talking about camaraderie, that there's less competition now than there ever was before. Because before, there was only a limited number of Tonight Show slots. There was a limited number of sitcoms that you could be on, and that's what everybody wanted. Everybody wanted their own sitcom, and everybody wanted to be on the Tonight Show.
And there were very few of those.
Very few.
Yeah.
And everybody was competing for these very limited slots. And there's very few HBO specials. There wasn't a lot, and there was a lot of us. And so it led to a lot of like jealousy, a lot of clawing and scratching. And now,
I could see
thanks to many things, thanks to the internet, thanks to YouTube initially, then podcast, and then Netflix, it seems like the world is our oyster. There's so much.
Yeah.
All you have to do is put out good content.
Totally. And you could have your own audience, and he could have his own audience, and she could have hers, and all exist without having to poach each other's audiences.
Yeah, and I promote, like in the beginning of, if you're listening to this on YouTube, it's not on it because it's something that I do in the beginning of the audio version of it, but I'm always talking about people's specials that are out. Like the Bumping Mike special with Dave and Jeff Ross is out now. They're not paying me to say that. Netflix is not paying me to say that. The Joey Diaz special or the Christina Pazitsky special. They're not paying me to say that.
Yeah.
I'm saying that because these people are all my friends, and I want them to prosper.
Yeah.
I want everything to. I want them to. I think they're great, and I want everybody to know that this is great stuff. And if you're a fan of comedy, I want to help you.
Yeah.
It's like I want to be that guy at the wine store going, hey, you want to see an $18 bottle of wine that'll knock your dick into the dirt? It's Joey Diaz.
Right. Nobody knows about it, but you're going to love it.
Well, more people know about Joey now than ever before.
Oh, yeah,
but
because of
not
you.
Not enough.
Yeah, no, I know.
He's the best ever.
Yeah,
I've
so
never
funny.
seen anybody that makes me laugh harder.
I don't know if I enjoy him as much as I watch as much as I enjoy how much you enjoy him. Like it really is such a great thing. Just watching you guys when he's going off and you're laughing at him, it's like I could watch that all day.
I feel so thankful.
He's so real. He's such a I mean, he's just one of those people that you just...
He's so real.
Yeah.
Especially if I have a buzz. I've had a couple of drinks, smoke a little weed, and I watch Joey. I'm so thankful. I'm just like so thankful there's a guy like that out there.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he's the leader of the charge. Because he's the most reckless and wild, and even
legit.
more so now that he did that Netflix special. Oh my God, go see him, people. He is a fucking monster right now. He's peaking. He's better than he was before, and he was the best before.
No, it's such a great thing. Like when you go to any club and then you come in and you just see whatever random people are there. You know, my wife was a comedian before we had kids, and the first thing she asks when I come back is who was there? Who did you see? Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, I saw Steve Byrne, I saw the whatever, and she's like, oh, she wants because she's not part of the community, like she is, but she doesn't get to visit.
Yeah.
So it's like she misses that sense, and we're very lucky to have that.
Yeah.
As grown men to be able to like walk into this very fun community that you're a part of.
Yeah.
It gives you meaning. It gives you a sense of belonging, and that's what a lot of people don't have nowadays. It's very. According to David Brooks, that's the reason for everybody's malaise.
I think there's certainly something to that. I think it's weird living in places where you don't know your neighbors. You know, I mean, that's fucking weird. I mean, Norton was telling me that he lives in this big apartment building in New York City, and I think he said, I mean, there's got to be hundreds of people living in that building. It's
easy.
a huge building.
Yeah, I know where he is.
He doesn't know anybody.
Weird.
Doesn't know anybody. He says he tries to say hi to his neighbor. They look at him like he's a fucking murderer. like nobody's friendly to anybody.
Yeah, it's so weird.
They're like, you're too loud. Stop making noise. That's what everybody does to people. Bang on the door, or bang on the floor, or bang on the roof.
Conflict.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. And it's weird, you know, my youngest wants to go to church. And
how old?
13. And
because friends? What is it?
Maybe she has more of a sensitivity, and like she knows there's something there's something spiritual going on.
Get her mushrooms.
I think that might have been what kicked the whole thing off. And she's searching a little bit,
right.
And she wants that. And she likes being able to sit someplace, and we go, and it's not like when I was a kid. Like when I was a kid and we were Catholic, the place was packed. Like you couldn't find parking. Like it was like it was a big deal. My father would be like, "We're going early. Come on, get out of the house. We got to get a spot. I'm not walking from the back." And it was like a big thing. Now it's like you kind of roll up. It's half full, and there's nobody there. And it's, you know, of course, the Catholic Church has a lot of problems. And
you think?
But every
what do you mean by problem?
But all these religions have had a little kerfuffles.
No, they haven't. They haven't. Not like the Catholic Church.
No, the Catholic Church is the worst.
It's the worst.
But I know, but don't let me get sidetracked.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But the thing is, we know so much now, and we're able to see that all these institutions are flawed.
Right.
That there's problems with all of them. People used to think. My grandmother just thought church is the best and this is the best, and they didn't ask questions.
Yeah.
Now we know everything, and we know that all these institutions are flawed, and I think we're making the mistake that you can't be a part of a political party, you can't be a part of a community, you can't be a part of a thing if it's not perfect. But that's not a way to live. You got to kind of be a little ignorant if you're going to show up. You got to kind of not be ignorant, but allow things to be flawed.
Or start a new one.
Go on.
Yeah. I mean, the right way to address the issues of a flawed institution, and not just to accept them, but to try to create a new institution that doesn't have as many flaws. I mean, that's not what we did, but what our founding fathers did when they established the United States of America.
Yeah.
The idea was to establish a place where you have an experiment in self-government, and that's never existed before in the world. And this is what the United States represents to the rest of the world outside of us.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what again, I keep saying we. It's not we, but what the people that established the United States did was they broke the mold as to how a world superpower or a country, it wasn't a superpower at the time,
could exist.
But how a country could exist. And then that country, I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that out of just a couple hundred years, that country emerged as the greatest superpower the world's ever known. I think that freedom allows unprecedented activity in terms of innovation, in terms of creativity, and not being suppressed, and not being in total fear for your life for any form of dissent. So this goes back to not just religion, but any sort of any group, any group that's in control of any sort of a situation, as soon as you suppress all the other people, you limit their ability to contribute.
Right. Right.
And this is what has existed all throughout Europe and what existed all throughout Asia, all throughout the rest of the world when the United States came along. And then when the United States came along, all of a sudden you have this unprecedented development and growth in this one place where people are allowed to be free, where we support free expression, where we support freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and we separate church and state. And this is one of the reasons why these things are so important. So when you get like religious fundamentalist wackos that say this country was founded on Christian values, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you're a peaceful Muslim, if you're a peaceful Buddhist, if you're a peaceful Mormon, whatever the fuck it is, we should all embrace each other. We should allow each other 100% freedom. And as soon as someone starts restricting that freedom and restricting people's ability to express themselves, you run into real problems because then you don't let these things play out in their natural order. You don't let ideas play out where people get to examine those ideas and change. Look, if you look at some of the more suppressive areas of the Middle East, the real problem is that these people live, not just, there's many real problems, but one of the real problems is these people live in fear. So there's no real freedom of expression. And there's also this real desire for conformity. There's real desire to establish that you are a part of the group that is one of the good ones that's going to abide by the rules, and you are going to show everyone else that you are a part of this group, whether it means throwing gay people off buildings or throwing rocks at women that have been adulterers, all that stuff.
I was just going to say, like, your life actually depends on you conforming.
Yes.
I was with my friend the other day who's gay, and he was saying that
you have a gay friend?
He just
Stop
one.
the show.
Just one. Just come on, fellas.
Shut it off.
Come on, fellas.
Shut it off.
And it really...
How close?
He's close.
Comes over your house?
So close.
Whoa.
I didn't realize he can't go to half of the planet as an open gay man.
Oh, yeah.
He can't go to Russia. He can't go to all of the Middle East. There's parts of Asia. Like, they will kill you if you're gay in those areas.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about,
right.
What's going to make a city flourish than gay people coming in with bold ideas and let's go. I mean, I saw them change parts of New York like it was nobody's business.
Well, and also I think that like the what's great about gay folks is when gay folks are embraced and they're allowed to be themselves.
Oh my God.
And then they can express that, and then you get to see that like there's such a giant spectrum of the way people behave and think and the things that they love. And if you don't allow people to express their position on that spectrum, then you don't even know it exists.
Right.
And then you create all sorts of deviance because you're forcing them into some unnatural pattern, which is one of the things that I think about the Catholic Church. I think part of the problem is that these people are suppressed sexually, like incredibly suppressed. Not just suppressed in terms of whether they're homosexual or heterosexual, but there's no sex. You're not allowed to have any sex.
Right. Yeah. So how's it going to come out?
It's fucking insane. It's like being in denial of the fact that you need to drink water.
And it's so upsetting because I'm really kind of searching a little bit because I was raised Catholic. And I did like going, I have what she has. I did like going and sitting in the pew on Sunday was different from the other days. Yeah. And I got to hear people talk about being nice to each other. And I got to see the people from my town who you saw running around, but now they're just sitting there quietly and praying. There was goodness to it.
Yeah.
And they went out and fed the homeless. There was good stuff that came from it. And she wants that. I get that. And now you're sitting in an institution, though, and you know the backstory of what's going on. It's, how do you sit there?
Yeah.
How do you sit there? So I said to her last night, maybe we should just go to yoga. We'll satisfy your spiritual side. But,
right. But then they're wacky too, man. I mean,
know.
Look, I go to a Bikram Yoga. I go to hot yoga, the 90-minute hot yoga. And that guy, I don't think he's allowed to come in this country.
No,
Isn't
he's
that
not.
The deal?
The guy who made Bikram. No,
yeah.
that guy.
I do not think he's a... Find out if that's the case.
He got a little rapey.
Well, he definitely got a little... He took advantage of his privilege, his position.
His power.
Well, yeah, I guess you could say power, but the reverence that people had towards him.
Yeah.
They felt like he was a guru. And so he would get these girls alone, and he would make them suck his dick or whatever.
Right.
But I think... See... now this is very dangerous waters, but I was having a conversation with a woman who she's actually an instructor, and she said, listen, that guy is definitely creepy, but let me tell you something. A lot of those girls not only knew what he was about, but they wanted to be with him. Mm-hmm. They wanted to be with him because of his power and because he represented something special to them. Mm-hmm. And then when he just like shot a load in their mouth and then kicked them to the curb, then they became angry and decided they were molested. They went into it willingly. I do not know if she's accurate or inaccurate. Because I was not there and I'm not a woman.
Yeah.
But I do know that people have like I remember women not throwing themselves, but making it like very clear that they had deep admiration for my martial arts instructor when I was a young kid and I was practicing Taekwondo. Yeah, I remember these women; they were so in awe of my martial arts instructor because he represented a master of something that they were deeply enamored by. Mm-hmm. And I think that's also what happens with these yoga people.
Yeah, it's seductive.
Yes.
It's seductive. There's and also with something like that, it's very physical and mental and spiritual. It's
sexual.
It's sexual.
Like yoga is. Yeah. Look, I've never had any sex with anybody in my yoga class, but I'm telling you, when everybody's in there sweating and everyone's almost naked, I'm wearing these little fucking shorts, and these girls are wearing these little shorts, and
the teacher goes around and she like calls you out. It's like, oh, she likes me.
Yes, I can understand how some of those people get intimate with each other after this is all over because they're so close to being naked and sweating together.
Right. And your friend is right in that there were some women, I'm sure, who wanted to be with him.
Yes. But my friend was not dismissing any rapey shit either.
But it's his responsibility because he has the power and knows what he's wielding, like in a workplace kind of thing. It's up to you to be the one who puts the brakes on it.
That's where it gets interesting because he does not seem to think that he does have any responsibility at all for the people that are working for him, teaching these classes and like he did this HBO documentary. It was fucking. They did this HBO interview about him. It was so ridiculous.
This is the Bikram guy?
Yeah. He goes, there are women that will pay $1 million for one drop of my sperm. He says this. See if you can find the video.
So he's fully aware.
Bikram said he's fucking crazy.
He's fully aware of his power.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
He was dismissing the idea that he would ever sexually assault anyone. He's like, why would I do that when there's women that will pay $1 million for one drop of my sperm? Well, it wasn't that one.
Why?
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. Bryant Gumbel wasn't there. I think they're discussing it.
Right.
They're discussing the sperm comment.
You go on to see the guy because he looks like a.
Because he said the comment to a woman, and she was like this. She was like, "What in the fuck did you say?" HBO's Andrea Kremer breaks down $1 million sperm interview. $1 million sperm interview. There's some shit that you say. There's some shit that you say where people go, wait, what the fuck did you say? Holy shit. Yeah, there's some things that are what's called funny. That you would call beyond the pale.
Yeah. Right? Well, I love just seeing pictures. You hear these stories, then you see him. He's like, you're like grandpa. He's like all loose skinned and he's balding but that's the thing. It's like when you're in a powerful position like that.
He's very spiritual. And people will pay $1 million. What does it say? From being circumspect in real sport, the 70-year-old went off on a rant claiming 5,000 women a day want to sleep with him. 4 have committed suicide over his charms. And people would pay $1 million for a drop of his sperm.
See, now
imagine if you lived in that world. I would just shoot loads every day and then retire. If you just ate a lot of zinc, and like what makes loads? Oysters,
celery.
Yeah, is that really?
Yeah, celery.
That's vegan nonsense and propaganda.
Celery.
Don't listen to those people.
Celery adds to the pop.
What tells you? Who tells you that?
The celery people.
That's like some fucking celery lobby.
No, it's true. Celery does.
How do you know?
I read something. Porn people, right?
Celery?
Yeah, celery. If you know.
What's Jamie got here? Oh, here he is.
I can make a lying the most beautiful, famous, rich women in the world, if I have to sleep with women, then I have to sleep, 5,000 girls every day.
5,000 women a day want to sleep with you?
Yeah. They commit suicide. 4 of them.
You're saying that 4 different women
4 different women.
each killed themselves because you wouldn't have sex
All
with them?
died. Why I have to harass women? People pay $1 million for 1 drop of my sperm. I can make $1 million a day, every drop. You are that idiot or dumb to believe those trash.
The women are the trash?
Yeah. I pick them from trash and give them life.
Oh my God.
Ooh, that's
70
so
years old.
spiritual.
He looks pretty good for a 70-year-old dude.
That's what's selling all that loads.
Oh my God.
It's no good.
Don't last very long. They gotta,
They get gross.
they dry up real quick.
Yeah, they get gross. Do you know?
Oh man.
Yeah. So that spiritual thing, like the whole.
But that's yeah.
Yeah. It's like the problem with it is you're still an animal, right? So if the animal, it's like we were talking about before, where the wolves go on these surplus kills and they kill all these elk and they don't eat them.
Yeah.
Like in Wyoming, there was a recent issue. There was 18 elk that were killed by wolves in these surplus killings. It was a real tragedy.
Yeah.
And these wolves can't help themselves. It's just their instincts. So his instincts as a man, he has instincts to procreate, right? He has instincts to respond to women that are sexually attracted to him. And he teaches these classes in front of hundreds and thousands of people, and everybody loves and adores him. So in his fucked up, twisted brain, everything that he said there made sense. My favorite part of it was that woman, Andrea, when she clarified.
Yeah.
So you're saying that 4 women have committed to, like, I want, this motherfucker has to be clear on this nonsense.
I like how she's
there he is.
She doesn't even change her expression. She's just like, so you're saying. Yeah, I mean, look at that girl right now. He's standing on top of a woman's hips as she's bent over backwards. That girl is like, he wants me. He's standing over me. This
By
is
the way, I've taken a lot of yoga classes. Nobody ever stood on my hips.
No,
They
no
did.
way.
I'd be like, hey, bro.
But I do like it when you're doing yoga and they come over and they like push your legs down and you're like, okay.
Yeah,
a little
assisted
deeper.
stretching.
Oh shit, I just spilled.
Assisted.
I spilled, Jamie.
Spilled wine. Leave it there, bro. Let it sink in. It's good for the patina. I'm learning those terms. The patina.
So
Lay that there.
So when you're in the church,
the church of yoga, home, or real church,
and you're abusing your power,
and that's a different animal because you're abusing it with children.
Yeah, it's so
bad.
bad.
It's a totally different animal.
Yeah.
You know, when you're taking 6-year-olds and abusing them, that's a different animal.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, it's like there's levels to this shit, right? Like, the guy killing his brother is horrific to me. The guy killing his brother's wife, more horrific. The guy killing his brother's wife, and then kids, impossible, demonic. It's like that. What you were saying earlier, like, do you believe in good or evil?
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe in it, but if it did exist, it exists in the mind of men.
Yeah.
And it exists in that time. You know? It's
I know. Or if, yeah.
But, you know, it's like what I had this bit that I did on my last special, and it was about men's rights groups. And I was trying to figure out a way to say this and make it be funny, but it's so true that I said men commit most of the murder. Men commit most of the rape. Men cause all the war. These are facts. Like, the most horrific things in our life are war, murder, rape. Those are the most horrific things in all of life. I mean, theft pales in comparison. And I think men steal more than women too.
Yeah.
But that's the evil. This is, if there was a demon and the demon came down to earth and there was only 3 things that it could get you to do.
Yeah.
It would get you to rape, murder, and cause war.
Right.
So if a demon was real, a demon would be men. So I said this as a joke that I get feminists, like in the special. I was like, I get it. If I was a feminist, I'd be one too. I'm like, I can't be one as a man because they're not real. Because like male feminists, like they're just tricksters. They're just like, show me a male feminist that can pick up heavy things and run really fast.
Right.
They don't exist. Like this, you have a limited parameter where you're allowed to be a male feminist. But I get it. Like when I look at the actions of men, if you're an objective person, you take yourself out of the human race, and you look at all human beings, and you look at the horror that men, not that women haven't done awful shit and falsely accused people and killed their kids, and women have done all those things.
Sure.
Some women.
Some.
But the vast majority of horrors have been committed by men.
Yeah. I know. It's like, I know it's a very primitive way to look at the world, that there's good and evil and it exists in these certain ways.
Want some pot? That's good. That's all good.
All right, but
A little hit of that. Don't get crazy.
I'm worried that I won't be funnier after I do this.
Okay.
But let's see.
Jamie will
It'll be
pick
an
up the slack. Dude, you like Elon Musk. You're a goddamn pioneer. We're good? Jamie's going to go deeper. He's crazy. Jamie's going for 3, I think. Is that 3?
Jamie has hip problems.
If you see a video of the floor, Jamie hits the wrong button.
He's like Biggie Smalls over there in a cloud of...
What's amazing to me is that this is now 100% legal here.
It's
but still not federally, right?
Well,
And
that's what was funny about the Elon thing. When Elon smoked it here,
Yeah.
it was like, it's totally legal, it's totally okay, but in everyone's minds, they're still like, no, it's not.
Yeah, well, they need to let it go, and this is
Yeah.
why they need to let it go. We're on your side. You know, I'm on, like the good people of government, law enforcement, fire department, military, the good people of I'm on your side, man.
Yeah.
And I'm a stoner.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on your side. I'm on your side 1,000,000,000%.
And making it legal actually helps all that, because now you don't have to go out and
doesn't
fight
just-
these phony wars against it.
It doesn't just do that. It makes people more compassionate.
I know.
It makes people look. It's like everything else. You can abuse beating off. You know, I remember when I was
$1 million a drop.
$1 million for one drop of my sperm. You know, if you're a person that gets obsessed with masturbation,
Yeah.
like you could ruin your life.
Yeah.
There's people that have
Yeah.
legitimate porn addictions where they watch porn 8-10 hours a day.
Yeah, and they can't stop.
Right. This is like everything.
Yeah.
I think you can ruin yourself with sugar. You can ruin yourself with food. You can ruin yourself with laziness.
Yeah.
You can get into a habit where you just can't get up.
Yeah.
You know, you can get into a comfort zone where you just want to take baths all day.
Right.
You know, people do shit like
Yeah,
that.
no, I know, exactly. Yeah, there's...
Did Roseanne say she did that after all of her bullshit went down? She just got in the bath all the time and drank wine? Was that
Yeah.
her that said that?
Is there safe space?
I apologize if it wasn't. But,
So anyway, I know it's a very basic way. I mean, we've been talking about good and evil since the time of the men were able and women were able to, write and
Right.
and philosophize. But it I don't know. It just seems to me lately like it feels to me like evil and good is actually a force that we're struggling with.
Yeah.
And I know like some people would say that's kind of a primitive way of thinking, but I do kind of feel like it actually is a very real, tangible thing, and that.
What makes you think this? Like, does
don't-
your personal feelings? Is it based on like your intuition? Like, what is it?
It's intuition. It's like a vibe. It's just like maybe because I'm showing up at church and kind of like searching a little bit myself, and I am very much about good people doing good things, and
Yeah.
I've just been kind of conscious of it. But then there's always like this rise of evil that like comes up, like all of a sudden white supremacists or these riots or these horrible things against people in different parts of the world, and it seems like it's this ongoing struggle.
Like almost like why hasn't it caught up yet to the way you look at the world, the way a lot of people look at the world?
Yeah,
A lot of people look at the world like if Tom Papa, if you were in charge and if you had to push all the buttons that would sort of decide how people behaved, if that was a possible thing. Of course, one of the first things you do is eliminate all the violence
right.
and all the horrors of the world.
Yeah,
And if
and then also, I'm sorry to cut you off, but you also see that all those horrors are done by these men and
Yeah.
stuff who, when you sit and like kind of analyze them, and they've been the victims of a lot of things, and there's like genetic victimization and social, and it's like, so where's that coming from? Why are this kid that could have been okay ends up in this life of crime and ends up murdering somebody, and where's that coming from? Is this just a genetic mutation, or is there like a force of good and evil?
I think we're still dealing with the echoes of the past. That's what I really firmly believe. And I think also the way maybe you and I are having this conversation, the way a lot of people are having these conversations today, just like us, like basically the same sort of rational people sitting around with no agenda going, why does this exist? Why is all this horrors of life? Why is all this injustice? Why is that there?
Yeah.
I think this is we haven't been here that long. I just really think that's real, and I think we need to absorb that much better. Our time spent in modern civilization versus the time of life on Earth is a joke. The time on life on Earth in relationship to the time of the universe is a joke.
Right.
The numbers are insane.
Yeah.
We can't understand that we literally were monkeys just a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Like the bit that I have in my act about the United States being founded in 1776, that's 3 people ago.
Yeah,
People
right.
live to be 100. That's 3 people ago.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah, that's nothing.
So 3 people ago, people were these creatures that had to make fire, right? To stay warm. They didn't have electricity. They didn't have engines.
Yeah.
They made boats out of trees, and they used the wind to drift across the ocean while staring at the stars with a gigantic harp-looking thing, right? What was that thing? A sextant?
Yeah.
Isn't that thing that they use?
Yeah,
They have
the
to
sextant.
look at the stars and figure out where the other ones are. So you had to trust that these motherfuckers had mapped out the universe well,
That was
so that
the
you could make
GPS.
it across the ocean.
Yeah.
And a lot of people died of scurvy along the way. Like, fuck, man, that is crazy.
And not long ago.
Dude, that's so goddamn recent.
Yeah.
When I was listening to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, one of the best podcasts ever. I don't know if you're listening to it. Oh, it's so good. But he has this thing on the Mongols called the Wrath of the Khans. And what freaked me out is not just how crazy that world was back then and what unbelievable damage and destruction the Mongols created and how they just conquered empires, just moved across the world, killed millions and millions of people. But what was really fucked up was, I think, Google this to make sure I'm not wrong, I think that was only like 1200 BC. I don't think that was that long ago.
Right. Yeah.
That's really recent, man.
Yeah.
That's really recent. I think Genghis Khan died in the 1200s, if I remember correctly.
1200 AD, not BC.
AD. Oh, did I say BC?
Yeah, yeah.
I actually meant AD.
Yeah, yeah.
I said BC, but I really did mean AD.
Which makes it more recent.
Yeah.
It's like 800 years ago.
I'm a little stoned, folks.
Yeah.
Sorry. I
But
fucked
it
up
made
the
it a lot more
terminology.
recent.
But that 1200, well, 1200
So-
BC would still be pretty fucking recent. But 1200 AD, which is what I meant to say, that
Right.
is so recent.
Yeah.
That's just,
Not that long ago.
yeah, that's
People were starting to make wine and
818
sourdough.
years ago, right?
Yeah.
Ish.
Other way.
Other way.
792.
792. 792 years ago, a guy killed 50 million people during his lifetime with his actions.
Right.
They changed the carbon footprint of the world. I mean, they
So it's a- so you're-
destroyed. I mean, they
No, wait.
So then you're saying it's
Was
more.
that right?
You were right. Yeah,
I was right.
So
Okay.
you're saying it's
Either
more
way.
surprising that we're doing this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and that we have electric cars and
Yeah.
medicine and all this other kind of, like, it's more surprising that we're doing that than it is that people are running around killing
Right.
each other.
Well, Nazi Germany, dude, that was 1940s. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's maybe crazier than anything. You know, and Carlin has some great stuff on that too in the history of World War I and World War II. But if you're watching a documentary on that and you're watching those people move around, especially that one that you showed me, Jamie, that's been digitally remastered.
When you see it in color.
Is it Ken Burns that did that?
Yeah, I think so.
They digitally remastered some footage from World War I, and you get to watch these people move around like in real time. You realize like, oh, these are people.
They're just
like
people.
you
I
and
know.
me. And this is like 100 years ago. 100 years ago, we're involved in this crazy ass war, and then a few years later, involved in another crazy ass war.
Yeah. So why can't we figure it out?
Dude, I'm
Because
telling
evil
you,
is present.
I don't know. I think it used to be the only way that people got by. I think from
Killing each other and-
I think from going from small groups of people, which like in these small groups of people, they would have interpersonal conflicts. They would have fights with members in the tribe, but they would sort it out, and there would probably be some sort of rule that they would all try to live by. But then they would get invaded by people that didn't have anything and were looking for your stuff. And they came over the top of the hill and they killed and they raped and they stole women, and they just did that for a long ass time, man. They did that for a long ass time.
Right.
This was the history of the steps, like that Dan Carlin maps out in this Wrath of the Khan thing, makes you
Right.
go, Jesus Christ, imagine being born then.
Right.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Just imagine how crazy that meant, being a baby and seeing arrows flying around. And
People cut
were,
open.
Dude, people were lighting people on fire and launching them onto roofs with catapults.
Right.
This is the footage from World War One. So look how they digitally remastered it. And
Yeah.
Peter Jackson's doing
Peter
it for
Jackson.
a movie, I believe, or a documentary.
That's the craziest thing. When you look at history and you think that, well, that was then, it's like, no, they're just us. Just happen to be, they're really no different than you and me.
dude, we haven't been here this long. We haven't been here this long. This is the thing. Like people that look like this, that are wearing like uniforms and that are, have like decent stuff, nice wheels to their wagons, all that kind of shit. That's real recent, man.
No, I know.
It's recent as fuck. And there's been a bunch of different ways that people have done it. But even if you go back to like the Egyptians.
But isn't the act of like, okay, so we know like that guy who lit his house on fire.
Yeah.
We know that as just instinctually, we know and have known during even all this history, we've known that is evil. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
It's insanely selfish.
it's not like we went from having to like eat each other and now we're trying to get our act together.
Right.
You know what I mean? We all know that is such a evil thing.
It is.
I think it exists. I think we have to fight it.
Well, it is evil, but it's ego that's causing that, right? That guy didn't want to go to jail. He didn't want to shoot himself. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to kill himself, and he didn't want to go to jail. So he decided he was going to kill a bunch of people to make up a story. He had a plot, and his plot was to save himself.
All right.
And that's when people get trapped in a situation where they're allowed to make decisions, and they're allowed to, if not allowed to, but if they choose to make decisions and those decisions are horrific, and then they have to somehow or another justify those decisions because they never look at their own behavior. They always judge other people. I mean, this is a pattern that people fall into, where they're always looking for other people to always be wrong.
Right.
And they never grow. And so, like a guy like that, if he was so psychotic that he could kill somebody, and then he has this decision to make, and this decision is to kill the wife and the kids, still, like he's just like always got to be right. You know what I'm saying? Like he's trying to cover his tracks. He's trying to lie always. Like this is the type of person that could do something like that.
Yeah.
This is a horrific pattern of thought, and it might have been triggered by the murder itself.
So it's just a chemical flip in his brain that says, now I can kill people? Like
Maybe
he hasn't
it
done it
is,
his
man.
whole life and he's just going to
Right.
the Subway and getting a sandwich with all the stuff on it and just like watching the Monday Night Football, and then the next week he's like, something flips in his brain is like, no, now I can kill
I don't think it's
all
I
the
think-
people that I know and love?
I think in a fit of rage, he does something horrific. And then I think he's one of those people that tries to justify his actions.
So it just
So he
gets...
tries to figure out a way where he can justify it. That they're going to be in hell anyway because the guy's dead. They'd probably
Yeah, I
better
don't think he's
off
thinking
not
that
suffering.
deep. He
No,
can't
I mean,
be thinking that
he
deep.
He could.
You think?
People are crazy, man. They come up with justifications.
Yeah, but we came from these, like we said before, this is an Italian dude like
Right.
us. He's like,
Right, but he could have also, we don't know if he's medicated, do we?
no, that's a
big
your
one.
brain chemistry.
We don't know what he was doing. He could have been on something which, makes people do horrific things.
Do you believe in karma?
I think for sure that when you put energy out there, it affects things around you in terms of the way people interact with you, and that in turn affects the way they will interact with other people as well. And I think there's a certain amount.
There's an energy you put out.
You could call it that, but that makes it sound like you got a crystal in your pocket, right?
Not really. Energy is real.
It's like
Energy is a real
Right.
thing. There's a real
Yeah.
right. If I was a murderer and came and sat in here, there'd be a different vibe than what you're feeling from me.
yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
A chronic masturbator.
Well, it's also people that are off and then struggling with the fact that they've done something awful, right?
Right.
There's like an energy to that.
Yeah.
It's like a constantly being on edge energy.
Yeah. You ever read Crime and Punishment?
That's Dostoevsky?
Yeah.
I never read that.
Oh, you should read it.
No.
It's so. He kills someone and he's carrying the
guilt.
greatest description of the guilt, just carrying that thing.
Ooh.
Now that guy's going to emit an energy, but you don't think there's karma just for like you do something bad and then something bad will happen to you?
I genuinely believe, and this is no crystals in my pocket, I genuinely believe that if you do something that you know to be awful, that has an equal effect coming back at you.
Uh huh.
Like whatever bad that you've put out in terms of like doing something evil to a person, the way you feel personally, like about yourself, you will take an equal blow. I really believe that.
And where's that blow come from?
I think it comes from your own introspective thinking. I think
so. You're doing it to
and
yourself.
Maybe even worse. You might even feel worse than that person. Like you could say something rude to a person just because you're tired, and then you realize you said something rude, and you're like, "Fuck."
Right.
Oh, why did I do that? I didn't mean. And then they could be like, "Tom Papa's a dick." Like,
Right.
No, I'm not really not. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And you just asked me something stupid. I'm sorry.
Right.
But it's like it's hard to turn that around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you might hate yourself more than they even get mad at you.
So karma's really you dealing with the energy. It's not the universe saying now something bad's going to happen to you. You're kind of creating it with your own actions and your own stuff.
I think it's real dangerous when we pretend that we have any sort of real understanding of the patterns of all the events that take place in the world. So when you start to say like something happened to someone because of karma, that's okay. The problem with saying that is, what about babies? What about babies with leukemia? Were they bad babies? Like,
Right.
what happened? Why did they get cancer? Why did they die young?
Right.
Why did they die in car accidents?
Well, they didn't
Why
have-
did they? That doesn't make any sense. They've never done anything bad. They're babies.
But you could say that bad shit happens to us all. But can you create more bad shit
I think
by
it's
your bad
entirely
actions?
possible too, and it's also entirely possible that you're creating more bad shit by feeling bad about yourself because you've done bad shit. So you create more of this negative energy that you carry around with you. I think that's entirely possible too. But I think that we also have this weird need to define things, and
Yeah.
I think that we're looking to this thing that we're calling karma. And we're saying that this is like this definite correlation between action and reaction, and between the good you put out there and the good that comes back. And my take is that I think there's definitely something going on, but I don't think
Yeah.
we should define it yet, because I don't think we really know. And I think as soon as we box it up and say it's this thing and this is the absolute reaction that the world has, when you put good out there, good comes back. Good people die all the
right.
time, folks.
Yeah.
Good people die.
I think there is an energy.
Yeah.
And we know it from the work that we do.
I think it's both
When you
things.
stand on stage,
Yeah.
there's an energy in that room, that transference between you and the people that are out there, and you're playing with it, and it's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's a very real thing.
It's like hypnosis, right?
Yeah, it is. And then they can reverse hypnotize you. They can bring
Yeah.
this other energy the other way. So that there is this energy of all of us out there and running around, it's not that far to think then there couldn't be good energy and there's bad
Yeah.
energy and is that ultimately good and evil? Maybe it is all generated from human beings. Maybe if you educated everyone and they could all be kind and try and come at it that way, we could actually feel that there was more good, but that's just more good coming from people. I don't know.
Well, if you want to get really spacey with this,
Sure.
really, really spacey,
It's the holidays.
you go, okay, well, what exactly are people doing? That's what you do. You go, what are people doing? What are they doing?
Like what's our purpose to being here?
Look at us from an outside perspective. Like, pretend you're not a person.
Right.
And you're looking at all the people like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
They're moving really fast. They're
Yeah.
spending most of their time doing things they don't want to do, and they're buying stuff.
Bustling around.
And so because they're throwing all this money at stuff, the stuff keeps getting better. So every year the stuff keeps getting more complex and more capable and more high tech and more space age. This is bananas, man. I got to watch. I can call people like fucking Dick Tracy, man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that as people keep going on and on and on and on with this stuff, we need some sort of energy behind this innovation. And a lot of the energy is conflict, conflict and resolution, conflict and resolution, conflict and victory, victory and defeat. And defeat makes you work harder. And there's all these like interacting forces that are
Okay.
constantly moving together.
I'm with you.
And that a lot of it is expressed. The success of this little game is expressed in material possessions. The success in this game is expressed in Hamptons mansions and private jets and Bentleys and Pam, I'm winning this fucking crazy game of stuff. And there's a lot of value in winning the crazy game of stuff. So we let these people acquire all this stuff, and you got all these diamonds and fucking
I got a jet ski.
Yeah, but this is forcing more stuff to be made better and more innovation, which will eventually. And this is where it gets spaciest of all.
I'm waiting for this part.
This is going to be what people become. People are going to become some sort of symbiotic organism with something that's tied into electronics. And that it's happening now.
Right.
It's happening slowly, and we're making it with stuff. And as we keep making stuff, it's eventually going to get to a part. The thing you would like to do more than anything is have it enhance your experience on Earth.
Right.
Right? I want to be able to take pictures. Yes. I want to be able to email people. Yes.
Yeah.
But I also want it to make my experience on Earth better. Well, then we're going to have to integrate with your circuitry, Tom Papa.
And then live forever.
Maybe.
Maybe that's what the organisms are trying to do. They're trying
Or
to
they're
become
trying
this
to
thing that
get rid of the monkey that wants to start the wars all the time. Right?
this enlightenment.
Purge that.
Right.
Purge that out of our goofy ass system.
Beat evil.
What if only some? That would be a great science fiction movie. What if this is the future? And they probably have already made it. But if only some people went on board with the new enlightenment that you get from these like headsets. Like remember the dude from Star Trek, the blind guy?
Yeah.
Which like from Sesame Street? Remember he used to be on Sesame Street, right?
Yeah. He was the
LeVar Burton.
Reading Rainbow.
LeVar. Yeah, Reading
Is it
Rainbow.
LeVar Burton.
LeVar Burton.
Yeah. If we all had those things on.
There was only like 10 of them.
But if like
bought into
most people bought into it, and those things completely cure you of any evil.
Yeah. And just moving along. I think that I don't know. I mean, maybe there is no purpose to us being here.
There
But
it is. That's an air filter, son. So you got that shit from Pet Boys. That's an air filter. That's like a cool air filter on the top of a muscle car. Isn't it? Isn't it? Come on,
It's
man.
hilarious.
That's
Yeah,
a
it's
69 Chevy.
yeah, you bought that at the auto parts store and put it in your
Those
Toyota
are the
Corolla.
dope old ones, man. When you fucking unscrew the chrome hubcap, you pull it off.
Put the
and you
thing off.
Put
Don't
the
lose
new
the
air
wing nut.
filter down.
I always liked a good wing nut.
Yeah,
it was
man, the
no
wing nut.
tools. Just
And people don't remember, man. These people today, you don't remember what gas smells like.
oh man, you could fix your own car. You could open it up and with a screwdriver
Dude.
and a high school education fix your automobile.
I was never smart enough or knowledgeable enough to fix my own car, but I could do little things.
I could do
change
it.
my oil.
Yeah,
I
change
could do
your
a lot-
oil.
I could do a lot of things with old
Yeah,
cars.
exactly.
I was too
I
stupid
did the
to fix
brakes
them.
once. I did the brakes.
Did the brakes.
Yep.
That's a bold move. What if
Yeah.
you're wrong?
I was poor.
Oh, Jesus.
I didn't have money. But buying brake pads was a lot cheaper than having some guy know how to do it.
Did you
Yeah.
put it up on a jack? How'd you handle
Yeah,
it?
put it up on a jack. I remember I had a
Ooh.
cinder block that held it underneath, and
Damn.
yeah, it was a nice. It was a light little car, little pads, and put them in. I probably had to get it fixed after that, but yeah, you could fix stuff. There was like a time when you could actually, and you felt good about it.
But
Yeah,
if you had to choose between one of those fucking rickety shit boxes that's like a rhinoceros on roller skates versus your Tesla,
yeah. No, there's
those
no way.
old things can go fuck themselves.
No, and I
right?
wouldn't put my kids in one of those.
Yeah.
That we were driving around in those death traps.
Dude, those
like
are death
no
traps for
steering,
sure.
no airbags.
Hydroplane at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, exactly. Just spinning around.
They were so engine heavy, remember? Those cars, like, they
everything.
had just big ass engines in the front.
They didn't know
and
how
the
to make
ass end
stuff.
would just slide all over the place. It was so easy to slide your car back then.
It was totally being with your friends, just like
Yeah.
spinning out in
Like
this
the cars
big
of
medical.
today, they figured out how to balance them. That's the big deal.
No,
like
it's a
if you
huge
like
deal.
a Tesla or anything, you buy a fucking Camry, okay? That Camry handles way better than a '69 Camaro.
Yeah.
fucking
No.
way better.
I would like
mean,
to see what the death rates
way
are
better.
of on the roads now with like new cars. It's got to be.
It's probably much better. I mean, they're much safer than
it's
they've ever
gotta
been
be.
before. But they're
We were
also
in death
driving
tra-
much faster too.
Yeah,
People-
but you
they-
don't have to drive very fast for it to be fatal. They just
true.
didn't know how to make stuff. Everything was metal and glass,
Just
filled with
fucking
gasoline.
metal and fucking sparks and fumes. Fumes were everywhere, man. You'd be driving, you'd be getting high from the fumes, right?
I remember when I was working for a fireplace company in the summer in New Jersey, and I was in a truck. And we're in this truck in traffic on the New Jersey Turnpike right by Newark Airport. and just the fumes from everything, from the city, from the cars.
Glorious.
It was just orange
Yeah.
in the humidity of New Jersey. I was like, if I get cancer, this is going to be the day that it hit me.
And it makes people crazy. It's like throwing alcohol on fire. So just breathing that dust all day.
So disgusting.
Pull up a video of the sound of the exhaust of a 1969 Camaro.
There is something.
There's something
To
to
it.
it. There's something.
The smell
to
of
it.
gas is a good smell.
It's not just that, man. It's that sound.
Yeah.
There's a sound. Ooh, how about this one? Even better. 1970s Chevelle SS. Yeah. You can fuck yourself, rest of the world. Hear that shit? That's America, motherfucker.
There's nothing evil about that sound.
Yeah. That is America. You driving one of those motherfuckers around?
It was very cool.
I mean, American muscle cars, as preposterous as they are, they represent in a lot of ways what's great about America. The excess, ridiculousness.
Exactly. Not giving a shit.
It's just so outrageous.
Just let's go. Let's have a good
Big-ass
time.
Fucking giant metal explosion contained in the front of the hood. That's all it is, giant ass explosion box. Look at this. Ooh, that's the 69. Is it? Nope. Yeah, it's a 69, I think. There it is. Yeah, it's 69. Look at that. That is fucking insanely beautiful. Good Lord.
But you know what?
Oh my God,
This
dude.
guy.
Dude, this is gloriousness. You see heaven on earth right here. 1969 Chevelle. Look how pretty that car is, man.
If this guy's across the street from me and I'm looking out with my coffee out of my window and he comes pulling out with that on a Saturday morning, you know what I'm saying?
What?
This guy's an asshole. Do you hear Herbie with his new car?
Dude,
He's going through a midlife crisis.
You say that, but I guarantee you, if you were next door and you just walked over and looked at it, it would catch you in its spell. It would.
One
If it's
drop
across
of
the
sperm.
Street, if it's across the street, it's just racket. Jesus Christ. Why does your car have to be so loud?
Yeah.
But if you're
Keep
right next to
down.
it, you're like, wow, 1969, huh? And you'll start walking around
It
it.
is pretty badass.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't make a car like that today because it's not even remotely aerodynamic.
It's not aerodynamic.
No.
It's not fuel efficient. It's not safe.
But they're beautiful, man. They nailed it. They hit this sweet spot in art and engineering.
That is the one part of the American experience, recklessness.
Yeah.
That's what drives everything. There is that element of balls to the wall. Let's see what happens. Let's discover, and you could get good things out of it.
Right, but imagine this. Imagine something that's far inferior to the modern alternative, but makes you feel in a way the modern alternative isn't capable of feeling. Like if you see a 1969 like done up Mustang GT, what was the big one that year?
GTO.
Mach 1, was it a Mach 1? What the fuck was the 1970? Was it a Boss? That's what it was. The 69 was like a Boss, and then earlier than that, they made those Eleanor cars for that Gone in 60 Second. I think those were 1967. So
Yeah.
early in that, they had that body style.
Yeah.
Like, if you looked at one of those next to a 2018 Mustang, the 2018 Mustangs look fucking great. They look great. That's it right there. It's a Mach 1. Yeah, that's it. Oh, that's right. It's from
That
the
is
John Wick
badass.
movie. Right. Dude. There's a company that's making these now too. They're called Classic Recreations, and they're making these like brand new versions of that car. They take 1969 Mustangs and they rebuild them, but they give them like real brakes so they stop good, modern suspension.
Right.
They make it so you can drive it around.
Yeah,
See, that's what I'm interested in. That makes sense to me.
That makes a lot of sense.
Those old
a blue
ones,
badass
they're just pretty.
Mustang, badass tires.
But
Let's
like when you
go.
look at that, how beautiful is that? It doesn't look like anything that you can buy that's modern. Like there's
No.
nothing remotely close.
No, that's like vinyl.
They just they just nailed it. Whatever the fuck they did, they nailed it. But all
No.
these years later, we're like, God damn it, they nailed it. Right?
But they nailed it for us, a certain lunkhead from New Jersey.
That doesn't do that for you.
Yeah, it does. But I don't know.
Look at that
I
red
don't know
one
if
with
like
the black
young
stripes
people
in
would
the
think.
hood. You don't know if young people would like that?
I don't know. They're
You
like
need to start arresting them if they don't like that. If young boys don't look at that Mustang and say, good God, that's incredible. If they don't do that, then they should probably go to jail somewhere.
that is pretty hot.
That's incredibly good looking.
But
That
it's
thing's
stupid.
insanely beautiful.
But it's also stupid.
Well, how so, sir?
It's just metal right in your chest cavity. No, no airbag.
You need to do more
Just
push-ups.
glass just in your face.
It's probably a little bit of that.
No,
But
I know what
just
you
don't
mean.
get in a car accident and drive carefully, and it's a wonderful thing to behold.
Yeah, no,
I
it
just-
is. My
I
buddy
just- I'm
had a
just baffled.
Mustang when we were in high school.
But if you saw something like that, but it had airbags, you'd be cool with it then?
Yeah, no, I'm cool with it anyway. I'm just busting balls. But I think that it's look at that little orange thing in the middle. That looks closer to what I had. I had a
that's beautiful.
76 Toyota Corolla. Call that up. Call up a 1976 Toyota Corolla with the racing stripes along the
Nice.
side. Look at that bad boy. Look at that orange one in the second row.
Nice.
That was it.
I had a 1984 Honda Accord. Pull
No,
that
that
shit up,
wasn't it.
Jamie. 84 Honda Accord with stuttering spark plugs.
That's a 79. You need the 76.
Those are cool little cars, though.
I could fix that car. That's what I was doing the brakes on.
Yeah, it looks like one of those, something like that. Yeah. It was white.
Nice little shitty car.
7 Legend.
Ooh.
Oh, it's just like this.
Ooh. Ooh. You know what, man? Here's the thing about
That's a
those
nice
cars.
car.
Those fucking cars drive forever.
Yeah, exactly.
They are. It's amazing how reliable Hondas are.
Oh, yeah.
They're so
And
insanely
Toyotas?
reliable. Toyotas.
Oh my God.
Hondas, yeah.
Just go forever. Just
Yeah.
having that crummy car
Yeah.
is a good thing. But so you think back to your point of view of what are these people doing here? So they're building. I liked where you were going.
We're
They're
making
building,
stuff.
Making stuff for what?
Well, because everything's electronically based.
and
It's
is this all
the-
instinct, or is it being steered by something?
I
Are we
think-
just finding our way in the dark, and this is what's coming out, or is there some plan?
Well,
That's the heavy question.
it's really hard to know if there was a plan.
Yeah.
I get why someone would be suspicious that there would be, but if you just see the whole nature, right, with the starting off of the tribal behavior and the invasions of the others and the wars that have taken place, sort of nonstop, right?
Yeah.
You get this hyper competitive, team oriented thing. It's broken into countries. Well, I think that with that and this like constant competition and this constant, and then inside your country, this constant competition economically and everybody just striving to achieve and do better and get crazier and bigger. And this is all leading to us just continuing to buy stuff. Like everybody that is involved in this is buying the newest iPhones, the newest MacBook, the newest this, the newest that. There's
Right.
an Xbox fucking, how many Xboxes have there been now?
Let's just say 4.
4, yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to keep
Keeps
going.
going,
They're going
keeps
to keep
going.
going. They're going to go Xbox 5. They're going to keep going. That's what everybody
Yeah.
does. They want better shit. They want VR. We want VR. We want hyper realistic VR. I want VR with no gear. I want you to be able to give me a pill, and that pill releases a bunch of nanobots that go through my circulatory system and find my brain and juice it up with some artificial memory.
Oh, that'd be nice.
That's what I want, and I shit them out later like buckshot.
That sounds
clink, clink, clink. Yeah,
like a
That's-
kidney stone.
Yeah, you shit it out like buckshot, like little BBs coming out in your poop. This is, I mean,
Look, beings always try to find safety, right? That's what they want more than anything. They don't want to get killed. They want to be safe and exist, eat whatever, but they just want to be. They want that safety. So maybe our safety is going to come when we're out of the woods, we're out of the wild, we're out of the 20th century, and we're just these insular things that never have to go out and about and live forever and just be.
could be.
Maybe that's what all this push of technology is aiming towards,
Yeah, it could be.
right?
It
It's
could
just
be.
to protect ourselves in these little cocoons and be.
Yeah, I mean, if the ultimate threat's always violence and war, right? That's the ultimate threat to the organism. That the organism would commit violence and war against each other.
Yeah, which is why we made doors and gates and
Yep.
stuff to keep those things at bay.
Yep. Yeah. But it's what the most fascinating things that people don't address, like what would cause a person to snap. There's no real concrete answer.
What do you think is the difference between, and I'm asking this honestly, killing when you're hunting and killing a human being?
I think it would be a giant difference in
Like
terms
what-
of the way you felt.
Yeah, how could you articulate it though?
I don't know. I've never killed a human being, but I would imagine that it would be. I mean, it would have to be some horrific situation where you're battling for your life. You know, which people do. It does happen.
Right.
You know, we're all aware of it. It's the worst possible scenario. We would all like to think that everybody that we meet that's of sound mind should be our brothers and sisters. I mean, we should all get along.
Right.
I mean, whether you agree or disagree about certain political issues or certain social issues, like, we should be able to talk through that as a community, but like always hold at the top that we're all in this together. And I think that's possible. I think that's possible, and I think we could still satisfy this fucked up desire that we have to constantly compete. We can temper that with what I think is the most important thing, is finding something that you're passionate at. Because I think you and I are really, really lucky that we found stand-up. And through stand-up, we found this thing that we're passionate at, and we have a good time, and we have fun. Some people don't have that. So like if you were offered a job as a stockbroker, and this is a guaranteed job, you have a guaranteed contract for the next 20 years, you're going to make 5 times as much as you make doing stand-up, but you can't do stand-up anymore. You would never take that.
No.
You'd be like, why would I do that?
Right.
So even though you're a guy who does well, you're not a business person. You're a guy
Right.
following your passion.
Right.
And it's allowed you to live a nice life. But it's not the same as a lot of people. What a lot of people are doing is just chasing the money. So the passion doesn't exist, and they can manufacture that passion when it comes to like some desire to see their team kick ass because their company's number one.
Doesn't have to be the work.
It could be really that they are into succeeding in the business world, and that's their passion.
Yeah, and
there's a lot of people that like that.
Right.
But it's not the same as a guy like David Cho, who's like a professional artist, who's he just follows his passion, right? He does what he wants. There's a different kind of achievement. There's a feeling that he has, the way he interfaces with what he does for a living, that's different than what a lot of people do. So I would imagine that artists would probably be less inclined to go crazy and spend all their money on stuff and buy things that make them look better or make them feel better about the fact that they work so hard.
Because they're not trying to fill a hole that...
Right. But if you have a job for a company that you don't really give a fuck about, you don't really give a fuck about styrofoam coolers, you know, you really don't give a fuck about fucking, you know, those rubber bands that people buy when they have causes. You don't give a fuck about this company, right? You're just a fucking guy who does your business, and you're there to, okay, well, you know, we can give them to you for $17.96 if we can work this through. Bob, we're talking about $1,000. He doesn't want to be there. That guy wants to be fishing.
Right.
That guy wants to be doing something else.
Yeah.
You're insanely fortunate that you don't have that in your life.
No, but I don't think those people, look, a lot of people have jobs that they're not into, but the reason we're lucky is that our job is our passion. A lot of people have the job that they're maybe not into, but they love this other stuff that they do. They love being with their family and keep teaching soccer, or they love skiing or whatever. Like, their passion is something else.
Yes.
Like, we're lucky that our passion is our work. Like, to
Super
combine
lucky.
those things, that is a very, very unique thing.
It's the most insanely lucky thing ever.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but I think that for people that are like hyper competitive, that don't find a thing that they really love, then it really, for many of them, becomes about pursuing the best stuff.
Yeah.
And this is what fuels so many people for like these status symbols. Like, if you have an iPhone 8, if a kid sees you with an iPhone 8 and they got an iPhone 10, they feel superior to you. Right? It's fucking weird. They can basically do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
iPhone 8 has a fucking killer camera. iPhone 8, you know, like the battery's pretty similar.
Yeah.
The bezels
differences
are bigger.
are tiny.
Yeah,
tiny.
But for status-seeking people,
Right.
it's very important that you have the latest stuff. Like, you can't be walking around with, like, David Tell the other day with an iPhone 2. Jamie burst out laughing. Jamie immediately he got on Twitter.
Attell is hilarious. You know, there's nothing about Attell that is searching for status.
None. No, I was saying that he's like a monk in that way.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But he's smart. You know, he's
very smart.
A brilliant guy. He knows
yeah.
he knows what's healthy for him and what's not, except other than the cigarettes.
Yeah, he can't
But in
quit
terms of,
those.
like,
But
mental health.
But all his other stuff, like he stopped drinking and did all those other
Yeah, no, he
things.
cleaned himself up really
Yeah.
well, and the cigarettes are the only vice he has. Cigarettes and coffee. He was saying that's his vice.
He's a poet amongst us. Like
Yeah,
he's
brilliant.
he's somebody that
He's special. He really is, and he's a really good guy.
yeah, no, he's
He's a
so
really good
kind.
guy.
He's
Yeah.
so kind. Just
Yeah.
being around in his orbit.
I love him
For
and
years
Jeff
coming through
together,
New
too.
York,
I
it-
love the two of them together.
Yeah, no, it's really
Jeff Ross and him.
It's so funny. I never would have seen that coming when
Perfect.
when we were all young in New York.
I know, right?
I never would have saw
I know.
those two
Yeah, right.
doing it. I don't know what, not for any real reason,
Well,
but I
quite
just never
honestly-
saw them intersecting.
I never would have saw any of us doing something like that. When
Yeah.
you're doing live shows together,
Yeah.
fucking around with each other. It's a great idea.
It is a great idea.
Because like some of those shows, you see those pictures from the Comedy Cellar. At
Yeah.
like 1:00 in the morning, like Dave Chappelle's on stage with Chris Rock, and they're fucking around.
I know. There's always like three
That's
guys on
cr-
stage.
That's crazy.
I know.
Man.
I never understand that either. But being around Attell, like watching him all through the years, like he would always surprise you. Like when someone's father died or something happened, Attell was always front and center, like helping out, giving
Yeah.
people money. Like there's
He's
a kindness to him.
Legitimate kind guy.
Yeah.
And
Another force of good.
yeah, a real force of good, and a guy who like comics should really appreciate. Like if you're a fan of the art form, like David Tell's really someone to appreciate because he's
Yeah.
always creative. It's like it's never douchey.
Yeah.
It's always funny.
Yeah.
Skanks for the Memories. That's one of my all-time favorite CDs. That shit is hilarious. That
He's
is
so funny.
That is a hilarious CD, man. And I think he did that in Denver.
Oh yeah.
I think he did that at the Comedy Works.
Oh, yeah?
At Wendy's place.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Skanks for the Memories. Is it? Those are yeah. That fucking
In Denver.
that CD's brilliant.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
He's so good.
Yeah, I mean to answer what you're saying, yeah, your face here in its photo. Skanks for the Memories. It's so silly. I think that was when he was doing Insomnia too, right? Yeah, that was the partying days.
Yeah.
He's just such a smart guy. Like he just decided at one point, hey, this is fucking me up. No more drinking. That's it.
No more drinking, no more show. I'm not
Yeah.
going to do this thing that's attracting negativity to my shows.
Yeah.
And setting me up as a guy that's going to drink himself into oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
he was smart. He pulled the cord.
Yeah, those you're the party guy. You're the life of the party
Yeah.
guy. You need
It's
to
a
talk
hard
to Bert.
thing.
To sit Bert down.
Yeah.
Ask him what the fuck what's his end game.
Yeah. Or talk to Ron White. He's doing it with
Listen, Ron White.
Ron White's not faking
I'll
it.
tell you exactly what Ron White's doing. He's riding that fucking boat right into the rocks.
Is he?
He doesn't give a fuck.
Right, exactly.
And he's doing it with a tequila company. Cheers. He's got his own tequila
Cheers.
company.
Happy holidays.
Cheers, my friend.
I set up my train under my tree.
What is it? Numero Juan? Is that his tequila company?
I just said I set my train up under my tree, and you still
Did you,
focus on tequila.
Did you have photos or videos of this train under your tree?
I think I did.
Put anything on the Instagram?
Probably. It wouldn't be real if it wasn't.
Yeah, it's hard.
I
Especially
love it,
good
though.
stuff in your life.
My kids are getting older. They're like 16 and 13. And they were at school, and I'm setting up the village under the tree and the train tracks and all the people like shopping around the village. And I was like doing it on my own because they don't have time to really do it. And I was like, this is how people become the guy in the neighborhood who's like, bring your children around to look at my train set, because your
Wow.
family leaves and you're like, are there any children around that want to look
Yeah.
at my train set? I could totally see myself doing that at some point.
Totally. Well, there's those dudes that they go all Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
They make that giant one in the middle of their living room. You remember
That's such a
Homeboy?
funny reference, yeah, because he had the plywood on the horse, like the extra.
Yeah, he went crazy and
It's so
built
funny.
that mountain in the middle of his house.
Yeah, and
And his
out of
wife
dirt.
divorced him.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, you make a train around that.
Yeah.
It's not that far from that. That's really
Why
funny.
can't I remember his name?
Richard Dreyfuss.
Of course, Jesus Christ.
Richard Dreyfuss. What a great movie.
Well, that guy, he's been great in so many things. He
Oh
was
my
like
God.
always the unassuming guy.
Jaws.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean,
He
him
was
and
the
Spielberg.
scientist.
He was Spielberg's alter ego, really.
Yeah. But he's so good.
Yeah.
He's so good in everything.
He looks so young there.
Oh, he was, man.
Man, oh man.
What a fucking movie this was, because I wanted to believe so bad after
Oh
this movie.
yeah.
I so wanted to believe. They got me.
Hey,
He
did
got
you
me,
talk
Steven
about that?
Spielberg.
Did you talk about that alien craft that came into our?
What happened? What are you talking
into our
about?
galaxy?
It did?
The one with the Hawaiian name?
Oh, so it's over.
You didn't hear about that one?
The one that looks like a joint?
Yeah, it looks or a big piece of poo.
Yeah. That's just a rock,
The big
right?
duty copter.
It's just a weird rock. I think.
No, they said that some like legit people said that it changed speed and went in different directions.
Oh,
and
legit people.
Legit people.
Oh.
Scientists
Oh, them guys.
said that it was. It could be something.
Could be.
What does Neil deGrasse say about it?
He's not talking right now.
Yeah, he's in a little bit of a kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle. What's this, Jamie?
This thing right. Yeah.
Harvard scientists say
Billions
aliens
of
may
miles
explain
away.
bizarre interstellar object. Yeah, I saw that, and then I saw someone refuting that they
Harvard
would.
scientists. Harvard.
Nobody wants to believe more than me, bro.
Come on, Joe. It's real.
Well, if I was going to mask my spaceship to fly through the galaxy, I would definitely make it look like a big rock.
yeah, like a big
Yeah.
asteroid
Right. Why wouldn't you?
driving through space.
Maybe if they were like, look, if we just make this thing drive by them and don't change speeds, they'll have no idea. Just think we're an
Right.
asteroid, and they'll be psyched that we missed them. Like, yeah, good call.
And the
But
guy's
then
like,
someone
"Left turn!"
Someone just hits the gas. I'm tired. I don't want to. It's fucking taking too long.
What'd
Like,
you
he
do,
just
Dave?
decides,
What?
Dude, you got it. The fucking cops are behind us, Dave. Shit.
God damn it, Dave. You're not supposed to just take off.
I told you. 65, you fuck. Let's start throwing this weed out the window.
Why would it be so hard to believe? A space rock traveling through space.
That would be the move, right? I mean, if they're so advanced that they can travel through galaxies, they can make the shit look like anything they want it to.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you doll it up?
Radiation pressure.
The only thing that I would
accelerating
think,
force.
though, would be, well, there's no air in space, right? So it wouldn't be aerodynamics. What would it be, momentum?
No, go down a little bit. I think it answers your question. If radiation pressure is the accelerating force, then Oumuamua represents a new class of thin interstellar material.
Whoa.
It has a different thing that it's using for energy.
What?
As to what may have produced this previously unseen material, it could have emerged naturally from the debris of the planet-forming disk in a distant solar system going through yet an unknown process. They've got a whole nother way to make... We went from Toyota Corollas to this thing.
Jesus Christ. Imagine if that's what we find. The only thing that I would think
That's
of,
what it does.
the weird, like a rock, right? Rock is not smooth, but it doesn't necessarily need. This is where I'm stupid. This is one of many places where I'm stupid. But it doesn't necessarily need to be aerodynamic, right? Because it's not going through air; it's going through the
No.
vacuum of space.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm not wrong there. It could actually look like a rock.
It could
Like,
be-
the only issue would be getting it into space, right? The aerodynamics, assuming that you're shooting it from a planet with an atmosphere. Again,
Right, gravity.
should not be talking about this. Way too stupid.
No, let's
But
go.
let's keep-
That's
let's
what
keep
life's
going.
about.
If you're launching it from Earth into space, right?
Yeah.
What if you had it encased in like this outer area, sort of like the space shuttle is?
Yeah.
But then once you get to a place, you could jettison the outside of it, just like they get rid of those booster rockets.
Yeah, they fall
right?
off
They just fall into the
and
fucking
disintegrate.
land on people while they're fishing.
What the hell was that?
That has to have happened, right?
Yeah.
Imagine getting killed by a booster rocket flying out of space and hit you in the face.
Didn't
Fuck.
disintegrate.
But then they could do that. They could release the shell, and then they would just have the rock, and the rock would move through space, and it didn't matter what shape it was because it's in the vacuum of space.
Or just get it up into orbit, or orbit like the space station, go and build it in pieces,
Yeah.
and then launch it. Phew.
Do you remember when that Commander Chris Hadfield gentleman was on the podcast, and he was talking about some kind of magnet that they have that collects subatomic particles out there in the galaxy, and that we only know 5% of what the universe is made out of.
Oh, my
When they're
God.
talking about things like dark matter, and he was
5%.
And this is a guy's scientist, space, a real legit astronaut coming back from 6 months in space or whatever the fuck he was there for, and telling us this. We're
Oh,
like,
wow.
what?
Yeah.
Like,
We've
oh my
talked about that.
God.
Like you can hang with those guys for a little while, and then you're like, I don't understand what's happening now.
Well, it's also it's amazing what we do know. Amazing
Yeah.
that they can send a guy to space and have him fly around the ISS or,
Well, talk about what you were saying about why are we here and what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like we haven't developed yet something that can go the the speed of light. We haven't but if we do, then the whole universe is open to us. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the struggle of developing all this stuff is to get to a scientific level where we can really go.
I don't think they think the speed of light is even good enough.
Really?
Yeah, I
God
think.
damn it, that was my goal.
I think that if you wanted to have options available as to what planet you're going to colonize, you're going to have to. Who knows? What if you land on a planet? What if you land on a planet and it's like, hey, it's 74 degrees out, guys, it's all oxygen and nitrogen. It's just like Earth. Come on out here. But it's only been like that for 10 years, and then its cycle is really fucked up. 30 years from now, it's going to be an ice age.
It'll
and
be
then
horrible.
all the people have moved there, and they're going to freeze to death, and there's going to be no food at all, and the planet doesn't give a fuck. That is
All our science led us to that.
I don't even know if we can predict. Here's my question. Can they accurately predict the atmosphere and the conditions and what the temperature would be if a planet is from a sun? Do they have a calculation where they say, oh, this sun is this amount of big and this planet is this far away, so it's definitely going to stay within a certain temperature range for the entire time that the planet... Do they know that within a death range?
I don't know.
Because a death
I would
range
think so.
is only
Yeah,
40
they must.
degrees.
They must.
Death range is 40 degrees, bro.
Yeah.
You get to 140, that's a wrap.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah. So 100 you can make it, 140 everyone's dead. Right? You're living in a sauna, you're going to run out of water. I just don't think we're going to make it.
We're not. And we're definitely not figuring it out because we're
100
saying this amount of big.
Yeah, exactly. We're not even helping. We're confusing the problem.
But seriously, think
should
about
shut
that
up.
just as a concept. Maybe that is it. Maybe it's maybe all this. You keep thinking, and you talk a lot about all the robots and the things that are moving us forward. But why? And I had the cocoon theory before, but maybe that's not it. Maybe it's so we can really go.
Yeah, I've had the cocoon theory for quite a while, where I think that we are some sort of an electronic caterpillar that's building some cocoon, and then a butterfly is going to emerge. Because when
as a collective, we'll all be part of this thing?
I don't know. I mean, just the innovation and the computers and the AI and our integration with them, that eventually it's just going to get smarter and crazier and weirder.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only a matter of time before they make something that resembles a person.
It sounds too
Science
insular.
fiction-y?
No, it sounds too insular that it would just be for us to stay here on Earth.
Well,
the universe is so vast.
Right.
That I think it's more likely that we're going to go out of this.
That's a very good idea.
This is the
it certainly
sewer.
Makes sense.
It's kind of the sewer.
Oh, but is it though? It's amazing.
Well, it's beautiful. There's parts that
Come
are
on,
really
man. We
nice.
have a lovely life.
Have you ever been to Utah?
Just ever get to look at the stars or look at the
Sunset.
beautiful
Just the
clouds in the
sunset.
sky on a day like today.
Oh my
Today
God.
is lovely. You go outside, there's clouds floating around. It just gives you just the right amount of sun, a little bit of contrast.
It is the best.
It's lovely. How could you say this is a sewer?
Because there's so many parts that are disgusting.
America.
There's so
many parts are not
because
the best.
not so many parts. Because we still have this evil, this other stuff that's clawing at each other and knocking each other, and it's still filled with
Right, but
danger
not right
and murder.
Here. Not right here. Right? Not right here. It's in certain spots. So this is the other thing that we tend to do because we have 7 billion people on the planet.
And cameras on all of them.
Well, yeah, and everybody's got a camera, and we're exchanging these stories. You're catching stories from an unimaginable number of humans.
Yeah.
Right? And so even if we're looking at just our country, there's so many people. Just LA, so many people. It's 20 million people.
It's insane.
What's really amazing, is not just how far human beings have come over the last 100, 200, 300 years. But what's really amazing is if you just look at the actual numbers of times that people interact with each other, how few of them are violent.
Yeah.
Especially in a place like America in 2018.
I think about that on the freeway all
There's
the time.
so many people, man.
These are you're right. And they're all pretty much acting in an orderly fashion to preserve themselves and others.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
And
it's
then
true.
every now and then you have someone that's just crazy, just violates all the rules, just weaving in and out of traffic,
Right.
and driving 150 miles an hour in a residential community. You're like, whoa.
Maybe it's just a mutation. Maybe that's just a mutation. You know?
I think it is. I think it is in the same way those things exist in like a biological system, right? You can get these little diseases, little bugs, these little things that are off, you know, and then you have an immune system that battles the bugs.
Yeah. Like when you see stuff about chimpanzees and there's like everyone's getting along trying to do their thing, there's struggles, but then there's a real mutation. Like there's one that kills the rest of them and won't be part of the thing. You know, that's what we have. We have these kind of like renegade mutations run by evil, which is why we should all go back to church.
What's interesting is that it's in large groups, right? And all of us together, like the way we interact with each other is generally nonviolent. However, these large groups will decide by whatever, you know, whoever's in charge to attack other large groups. And this is where the big death comes from, right? This is where the real toll comes from.
In war,
right? So, but if you looked at the actual communities of people from one side or the other, like the groups themselves together, how much are they really in conflict with those other people? Probably not nearly as much as the people that are in charge would want them to be.
Which is a very small, it's almost like the mutation is in charge.
Right.
Because, you take two groups that are at war and you put them together, they're just hanging out drinking beer together. We're all the same age. They probably have a great time together.
Their leaders talk them into
the leaders are
crazy.
The mutation. That's when things get scary.
Whether it's the Hitler leader or, you know, whatever.
The North Korea dude
whoever
or the
is
Russia
the one that's
dude.
invading places. They're talking people into invading places.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's some slippery justification.
Yeah.
You know, that's where the world gets very strange. And I think it's interesting that those people in those groups, you know, all come from all over the world, or all over the country at least, all these different places, and they're brought together.
Right, but look how we've progressed. There's fewer of those kind of conflicts now than ever before.
Right, but you and I think a lot of other people would like it to be zero amount, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's ever going to happen, man. And that's a weird thing to say, because you would like everybody to be in a good place in this world. But I almost wonder if, like many things, there's like this push of good things happening and bad things, positive and negative, and that this battle between the two of them is what creates all this momentum and all this movement.
That's the good and evil.
Yeah.
We're back to the good and evil, so maybe we should go back to church. Look, the priests did some weird stuff, but maybe it's good people in there more than evil people.
Well, the problem is, with that church in particular, they're still shielding the people that have done terrible things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just no denying that. If you look at the facts, if you look at everything that's come out, there's no denying that.
No.
It's super unfortunate, because I think the vast majority of the people that are involved in the religion that aren't the people that are pedophiles,
right?
I think they're very good people that probably think about it the same way maybe your daughter would like to think about it. That it's some place where people can get together and they exchange affection and camaraderie and this acceptance of something higher than them that holds them to a certain standard and wants them to be good people, and that's good for everybody.
Good for everybody.
Yeah. But if it wasn't for all that kid fucking,
God,
all that kid fucking just ruined all that.
It just
yeah.
It really,
did.
It's such a sad, sad thing.
Google this, because I've said this many times and I've never bothered looking it up. That the reason why, we can get another bottle of that if you want to get fucked up. Look at
It's the holidays.
Okay, it's the holidays. Shit.
A lot of sediment in that.
What were we just talking about? Good
and evil, and the priests and why they're ruining it all. And you said, go get that video.
Look something up you haven't looked before, a reason why.
Oh, this is it. Thank you. Whew. Thought that was gone forever.
I voted.
The reason why they forced priests to be celibate, because what I had heard was that and this is no scholarly work of my own. I don't remember even reading the article. I think somebody told it to me, that priests were banging too many chicks. Might have been Eddie Bravo. He might have said it in that way. Priests were banging too many chicks, man. They made them go celibate, which I don't think that was it. What do you think it is?
I think it was property. I think that when priests own property, and if they were married and he died, she would keep the property. If there was no woman involved and he owned the property and he couldn't be with a woman and he swore that he was just with Jesus, when he died, the property went to the church.
Oh.
Yeah. That's which is not much of,
that's crazy.
It's
Wow.
That whole other part of Catholicism is the other thing that bumps me all the time. When you go to the Vatican, it's like, wow, this is beautiful, but what? Where'd they get all this art? Where'd they get all these build? I mean, the
they
pillaging
have
of
fucking billions
riches.
of dollars worth of shit, all stolen from a time where people were starving in the streets.
I know. This is how powerful religion is. This is how powerful this pull is to search for good and to be a part of something. Is that
So weird.
in light of those things that
Yeah.
you see the wealth? It's like going into like a pirate ship and seeing all the shit that they got, and then knowing what they do with these children. Both those things are. You should just say, no, "Fuck this! I'm not going to be a part of this at all."
Yeah.
But the other part of it is so strong that you actually will kind of say, "Well, yeah, but I'm still going to go to mass on Sunday."
I think
You know what I
happens
mean?
is you think that even if a priest is bad, that the religion is still good. You know, you
Right.
think that the idea is that it's just like a bad guy who lost his way. That's
Yeah.
in that. They sort of
These
try
are
to-
human beings that are flawed.
Yeah, and
God-
a lot of them are drunk too, man. The
Yeah,
guy
really
who,
drunk.
The guy who read my grandma's my grandma's eulogy.
Oh,
He did-
no.
Her name was Josephine, but he kept calling her Geraldine.
Oh, no.
They had to correct him. It's Josephine. Like he was saying all these great things about her. He didn't know who the
He
fuck
didn't
she
know
was
her.
at all.
I know.
And he had those gin blossoms. Oh, Jamie brought another bottle of wine.
Oh, my God.
Savage Jamie.
Jamie.
But I think, you take a guy and you put him in that position where he can't have a companion. Like you're not allowed to have a love.
Yeah.
You can't have a wife or a husband or whatever. You can't have that. You're
It's
not
a
allowed.
horrible thing to do.
It's
You're fighting
horrible.
nature.
There was a kid that I went to high school with that became a priest.
Yeah.
And we all knew he was gay.
Oh,
We
yeah.
all knew, like, it was like a thing. You knew, like, oh, this is why he's going to be a priest. We get it.
Right. Well, that's what a lot of people say. It's like that the church, the other side of it is that the church doesn't create pedophiles. That like the institution attracts them because they know they'll be safe there.
Well, it's possible, but it's also possible that so many of them that are active in the church, and I don't know what this guy's story was. I barely knew him.
Yeah.
But that he could have been molested. I mean, it's not a small number of kids that were molested. It's a very large number.
large.
Yeah, and you would never, I mean, who the fuck understands what that would be like to be a young boy, to have that happen to you, and then get groomed and indoctrinated into being a part of this thing that does that to other young boys in the future.
It's your whole reality.
Which has to be what some of them are. And they're all doing this under the blanket of this thing called the church. Then when the church finds out about it, the church moves people to all these different various places, and they get these new victims.
Yeah.
And this
so
happens
bad.
over and over and over again. You know, this was one of the things that they were saying about Benedict, about the one who
Right, the Pope before
Cool
Francis.
Pope.
Yeah.
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 That he had actively done that. He had
No,
actively
he was-
moved all these people.
Yeah.
He was a part of that.
Ah, it's so bad. It's so bad. And it's such a shame. It
What's the
really
matter,
is
Jamie?
a shame.
Did not know this.
Married Catholic priests. There are perhaps 120 in the U.S. already. Here's how. Whoa, is this a new thing?
Yeah. The other article I found said there's about 200.
Wow.
As of 1980, there was a rule change or an adoption of a rule change that allowed.
Why does it say Eastern only? Is that what it's saying?
That was something in the story, the video that was going.
Yeah,
I
but
just
the-
kind of paused it there.
Why does it say Eastern Catholic? Like East Coast
East
only?
Coast?
Like West Coast, Mexicans are not buying it. They got West Side, we got our own Catholic homes. We're not buying your bullshit.
Brooklyn married in the
Yeah.
house.
120 Catholic priests married in the United States. Wow.
That would be a
Largely
great
because
start.
of a policy change by Pope John Paul II in 1980, which offered a path for married Episcopal priests to continue their ministry after converting to Catholicism. Oh, so you have to be a priest already if you're
Right.
Episcopalian,
Yeah,
and then you're allowed to
switch.
have a
Yeah.
wife and
Ah.
kids if you're Episcopalian, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
they
sure.
Let them convert to Catholicism.
So I mean, look
It's-
at that right there. Like, Catholicism's the only one that doesn't allow them to have sex, right?
Yeah.
And it's the only one with it's littered with kid fucking.
Right.
I mean,
right.
come on,
Enough. Exactly.
Just cut the shit.
We were actually at mass, and he was talking about, there was one thing from the gospel that was talking about being married, being with a woman, and then he finishes
Cheers,
the
kind sir. Cheers.
happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
He finishes the sermon, and then the reading. Then he goes into a sermon all about being with a woman, And this is a man that doesn't come close to that. This is a man that has no experience.
Right.
It would be so much better for the church if he was a married man with children, and then he could really talk about being in a family. Like, who are you? You know nothing about what we're dealing with on a daily basis.
Yeah, I never went to the Catholic Church when I was an adult, but it would be curious to be there, to be like a husband and wife sitting there in this fucking church, listening to this dude who is supposed to be celibate drone on about how you should live your life and what kind of relationship you should have. Like,
right.
Bitch, you're dressed like a fucking genie. who you giving advice to?
You got a giant scarf on.
Yeah, you're dressed like a wizard, son. This is preposterous. What are you doing? What's that thing around your shoulders for? Why are you dressed like that?
Why are you all in silk? Do you have underwear on?
It's really weird that we let people dress like that. Because, like, if he just stood up there and had to be held accountable, like, if the volume of his words were all he had, like, if you just made all priests, and I mean all priests across all religions, if they all had to stand on a flat, regular stage with nothing behind them, and they had to dress like a regular person, like you're dressing right now,
and no pointy hat,
no pointy hat, no fucking giant insane artwork behind you.
Right.
Nope, too confusing.
Yeah, not
you
up on,
people
a
up.
pedestal.
All that stuff fucks people up. You go there and you see the like. You've been to Rome, right?
Yeah.
St. Peter's Basilica.
Oh,
you see that?
Yeah.
When you go in there, I mean, you almost can't believe that your eyes are working correctly.
Right. Exactly.
You're almost like, this can't be something that someone actually made.
Yeah, this is insane.
With no machines.
Right, just their hands and thousands of people.
Like that if you're in that thing, you're going to be so humbled. And so they're going to get away with a lot more shit.
Yeah.
If you were in some weird conference room and you walked
at the Holiday Inn.
Yeah, conference room at the Holiday Inn
tie.
with little bullshit ass cups of coffee. You know how you get a coffee machine and they have little tiny bullshit ass cups next to it, like little white styrofoam cups
with the handle on it, the paper handle that folds out, and you're dressed in Joseph A. Bank.
The ones on the handle are not that bad because they have to be a certain size to have a handle. It's the ones that they're little white ones, little white styrofoam ones. Those are bullshit.
Yeah, but they would put in the plastic, the little triangle ones.
Nobody's gonna buy your fucking connection to
That
God
you're the deal.
if you're in that place.
Right.
You have to sell it. They're not just gonna buy it. But if you're
Unless-
allowed to dress like a wizard and you stand in front of a golden podium with a giant, huge sculpture of Jesus nailed to a cross behind you, and there's organ music playing, I mean,
It's huge. That's your act. That's a good act. That's an act that's gonna look at that.
You know what, man? They should make that shit illegal the same way they made advertising booze illegal.
God. But you know what?
Look at how pretty that is, though.
It's gorgeous.
So pretty. Wouldn't it be better if
that
it was
looks like a
just
Christmas mass or something?
bunch of belly dancers up there and dudes playing bongo drums and people passing around joints all in that place? Just a big old cannabis-infused lovin'. Wouldn't that be better than this bullshit?
Well,
These are all just
what
grown
was-
adults. If we can get all those grown adults just passing out weed, singing songs together.
Well, what was it in New York? Was it the Limelight? It was a church that turned into a club?
Try to love one another right now. All thousands of people in the church singing together with that. Come on, man. That's all possible too.
But you know what? Those people that are in those pews, that look like 1,000 people, right? That's a big crowd. Those people that are sitting there, they are kind of high.
They're checking their watch right now and go, when does this bullshit end?
The Giants are going to start in an hour and a half.
Fucking enough of this guy droning on. He's drunk, Gladys. He's fucking drunk.
There they go, asking us for money again.
With those gin blossoms all over the face. He looks like W.C. Fields. This fucking guy's just getting drunk. Shh.
I put shit in the basket. Now they're coming out twice with the basket. Screw this guy.
God is going to hear you. Stop it. God is going to hear you. Timmy's got to go in for his doctor's appointment tonight. What if God's going to hear you?
But is the value of them having a place to go on that Sunday, even though they hate it, important?
The Limelight is a gym now?
Yeah, the Limelight was a...
Wait a minute.
I saw Fishbone at the Limelight.
Hold on. So the Limelight, the dance club place, is now a fitness
Yeah,
gym?
it was
Or
a
it's
church.
market. I can't tell which
It was a market, too. It was a church.
Oh,
then it
like-
was a rock club.
So it doesn't last.
Then they
whatever
started
it is?
selling shit in
Yeah,
there.
they should sell that shit. Imagine that's your house, Tom Papa. That would inspire you to get your party rolling.
Live in a church.
It's a gym now?
Yeah.
Dude, I'd work out in that church all day. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That would be my spot. Even if I had a gym at my house, I would definitely go to that gym. Just to
Absolutely.
feel the juice. Like I tell people all the time, you should always go, like I like working out like at my studio, but I like going to places too, because when you because when you go to a place, like there's a certain amount of juice.
Yeah.
You know, you're in a new spot. Bunch
true.
of people around you that you don't know.
Yeah, you're
It's
up,
weird.
you're out.
And it's also, as a comic, I think social interaction is one of the least respected ingredients to our weird sort of stew of things that come together to make a bit.
You got to fill the well with those experiences.
Yeah, you got to talk to people.
Yeah. It's like reading or just being out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's important.
Yeah, it just all like all those things. Like reading is one thing you need to do, but I think like interacting with people is just goddamn gigantic. So important.
I do this. I do a monologue each week on Out in America on Live From Here, which is the new Prairie Home Companion. And
are you allowed to say that?
Yeah, it's the new Prairie Home.
Did anybody else call you that, or did you decide to call yourself that?
What?
The new Prairie Home Companion.
It was Prairie Home.
So you're actually doing this thing.
When I first got hired, it was Prairie Home.
Oh.
And then they changed it when Garrison Keillor got in trouble.
You got in a kerfuffle?
And now it's called Live From Here. He had a kerfuffle.
Okay. I was confused.
Yeah. And I do a monologue each week called Out in America.
How long have you been doing this?
About a year.
You don't tell me?
It's NPR. I don't know. I figured you would know.
All things considered.
Don't you
Terry
just-
Gross.
I follow all the shit you do.
I didn't know. How do you follow all the shit I do?
I'm only kidding.
That's weird.
But my point is, I do this monologue called Out in America, and it's me.
Look at you.
It's me.
Sexy.
It's me
Glasses.
shining a light on all the good people in America, right? And I do it every week on NPR.
Wear that suit like you own it. Look at you.
But the reason I bring it up is not to plug it, but to say it made me, when I'm out on the road, talk to people. I would get in the car and throw my headphones on. I wouldn't talk to people on flights. I didn't talk to the person driving. Stay in my room, do my shit as a comic. Just
Right,
go and
of course.
you're isolated. And because I have to write this monologue each week, I need inspiration. I really
Right.
want to shine a light on the good people out in the country. I started talking to everyone. I don't take my headphones out. I talk to the driver. I talk to the people next to me if they want to talk. And it is, talk about filling the well for your comedic, toolbox. It's the greatest thing in the world. There's billions of people. They all are unique. They all have a story to tell. It's foolish as a comedian not to talk to these people.
Let's be harsh here. They don't all have a story to tell.
They're not-
Some of them, they might have a story to tell, but you don't want to hear it.
Well, some are bad
This is a
stories.
sucky,
Some are
boring ass
disgusting.
fucking story. You can't tell
Not all of them end up
that
in the
everyone
monologue.
has a story. God damn it. You're going to get a lot of stories. They're going to be coming your way.
They do, though. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, even like the biggest slug you'll find, you talk to them about their family, about their childhood, about where they grew up. There is a story there.
Here's a way to look at it. You take the biggest fucking loser that ever existed
Mm-hmm.
on planet Earth, and if you discover him on Mars, it's the biggest story in human history.
Yeah. Holy cow.
It's true.
Barney,
If you find
Barney.
some guy wearing a donkey mask, jerking off with a bathrobe on Mars, it would be like the most important thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, it's on the
People would
CNN of
freak
Mars.
the fuck out. They'd be like, "This can't be real. I can't believe it. Hey, come here, get closer. I'll show you I'm real." Just
Have you
some
seen it?
old man with a donkey mask on, beating off? Right, but if you found an old man with a donkey mask beating off in Venice, like
I'm
Venice
still
Beach,
impressed. I'm still impressed.
Oh,
A
but you
donkey
wouldn't be
mask?
shocked. Like if I said, "Tom Papa, I
Have
want
you
you to
ever
bet
se-
your life savings." Do you say yes or no? There is currently a man with a donkey mask on, wearing a bathrobe, jerking off in Venice.
Yeah.
You might want to lean yes. I mean, you might. If they're bringing it to you, I'd be super suspicious. I'd be like, "That's your question."
Definite favorite, not an underdog on that.
My question is, do you think that it ever happened?
Yes.
Right.
Everything you can
I'm
think
100%
of has happened.
confident that someone has jerked off with a donkey mask on,
100%.
wearing like a hotel bathrobe
Especially in Venice. It's all about masks.
in Venice. I'm
Yeah.
100% confident that I could say historically.
Yes. Everything you can think
Right.
of has happened.
Venice Beach, not Venice, Italy, right?
Venice
Both.
Beach.
Both.
Right. No, Venice Beach.
Oh, Venice Beach.
We never know, man.
I thought you were
Venice,
talking Italy with all the...
Right? With all the Catholic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And plus the water's getting high and people panic.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
back to way in the beginning of the podcast when I was talking about wine and how I'm trying to learn about it and stuff. The one thing I don't know about wine is when I do drink it, I never feel that drunk. And we've had a bottle and a half now.
Yeah.
Do I seem drunk?
Yeah, you seem pretty fucked up. Don't tell me anything you don't want to tell me.
Do I seem that different from before? I mean, you're also fucked up too, but
No, you seem fine.
yeah?
Yeah.
Because I always get home and I'm like, I have to say I kept my shit together pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I wake up the next morning like, no, I shouldn't have done that.
Well, sometimes you'll hear yourself like on a podcast if you get really lit. Like when we did that Sober October podcast, I saw one of the clips.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how drunk we were until I saw the clip. I was like, oh my God, we were blasted. We were in orbit.
Oh, really?
Oh,
That's
we were
funny.
in orbit. I was listening to myself talk. I was like, you're so hammered. That's so stupid.
Because I want to be like a gentleman that can drink and
Yes, you
hold his
can.
alcohol and be like,
Well, sir, if that is your goal, you have achieved it. Cheers.
cheers. Happy holidays.
You're certainly a gentleman.
Because you don't seem, and you did more than I did.
Did I really?
And you seem exactly the same as when we started.
I think you're projecting.
There was one point when, after you smoked a lot, you were going
Oh,
like
the weed. That's what I did more than you.
I could tell it was a bit of a body high.
Well, that weed is strong as fuck. I think there's benefit to it. I don't think you should do everything all the time, but I think there's benefit. I don't think you should exercise all the time either. How
I'll
about
tell
that?
you. I'll tell you this. When I was flying back from New York yesterday and knew he had this, when I was on the flight, I was thinking it would be so nice to bring a bottle of wine, just chill with the guys, and that would be so happy. And now that we're in that moment,
Yes.
I'm so happy,
Me too.
so happy. It's a good place. I'm worried about Jamie's hips.
Jamie's hips still bugging you?
No, that's so the So Right actually helped a lot.
Really?
Just laying on it and breathing and
Yeah,
Taking
you know,
time.
I have not used that yet. I bought two of them. I bought one for the house and one for the gym. But that it's called a So Right,
Yeah, it's
right?
just like
It's
a-
for your psoas muscle. So you lay on
Yeah.
it and have it like massage your inner gut area.
It works.
Well, apparently that's like a muscle that gets knotted up on people, and I definitely got it get knotted up on me when I was running a little too often. I was running like 4 or 5 days a week. It was starting to knot up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Looks like that. Yeah, it's
okay.
just like a foam roller, but like if you could have an elbow on that foam roller.
Right.
Okay.
And you lay on it on your back.
Yeah. You can put a couple different spots too. They have like a spot in your shoulders and the front, but yeah, I don't know, whatever my pelvis area.
Yeah, that looks beastly.
But it helped, right? You feel good.
That looks good. Yeah, you gotta. It's weird. The human body's all manipulatable.
Oh, yeah.
It's malleable.
That's why yoga's so good.
Oh yeah, stretching in general, like all that shit, so good. But it's just so weird how like deep tissue massage and all that stuff works, and how your body's like pliable.
Yeah.
Break stuff loose. And
Yeah, it's weird.
Loosen things up. And someone who's really good at it. If you get a gal who knows how to use them elbows, and you need to fucking
man.
get in there and fuck you up, man. Woo!
I started running with my dog, with my lab,
Yeah.
and but I run on the road and on the sidewalk.
Right.
Do you feel like I feel so guilty sometimes that it's got its little paws out, just running on the road?
Like, is it hot? Are you worried
No.
about like the hurt?
No, it's
the paws.
it's the hardness of it.
Like streets.
Maybe
I never thought
she
about
doesn't
that.
seem unhappy. She seems like she's having a blast. But
Well, it's definitely not as good as running in the dirt. It's
right,
just not.
I mean, probably
Yeah.
for us either.
No, it's definitely not.
Yeah.
It's definitely not. It's weird, you know.
There's not as much give.
Whenever I see people running in the cities, I go, I get it. You want to exercise.
Yeah.
You know, you decided to make this whole world your gym. You know? That's a weird thing. I saw some
It's so
dude on
great,
Wilshire
though.
the other day. He was crossing Wilshire. It's just no shirt on, t-shirt, earbuds. Just one of those dudes is doing this at the fucking
Taking his pulse.
Yeah, he's like, and he just runs across as soon as the
Yeah.
light turns green. He's just using the street. This is like 4:30 in the afternoon too,
Yeah.
rush hour, and he's using this place as his gym.
I know. That's why
That's
I like
fucking
running, though.
weird.
That's why I like running, because as soon as you go out, you're doing it.
And he had a nice body too. He
Ooh.
wanted to let bitches know. He did. He was slim and fit.
I don't get the
That's what it was about, probably more than anything.
totally through
A
Wilshire.
little peacock move.
Yeah, no shirt on. And who's looking?
Peacocking. Just running around.
Do you do yoga with your shirt off or on?
That's right. Off, bitch.
Off?
Off.
With all the gals there?
They don't give a fuck, dude. They're suffering.
They don't
Everyone's
care.
suffering.
Yeah.
Everyone's
I always keep my
suffering.
shirt on because I always feel like as a man I'm not supposed to be there, so it should just
Ew.
make it less conspicuous.
You feel like as a man you're not supposed to be there, even after the remarks you heard by Bikram. I'm confused.
Well, the smart man is supposed to be
One
there.
drop of your sperm. They don't
But
care,
the,
man. Everybody does. Look, it's just too fucking hot. It's too hot. You don't want to have a shirt on. You have that wet fucking hot thing
Yeah.
smothering you. You know,
I
unless
just
you want to wear
I
a
don't
jog
do the
bra.
Bikram. I do the regular. I don't do the hot one.
I want to see you in a jog bra, bro. Why can't a man wear something that just like a
Just covers his
like a
nips.
sweatband for your tits?
Yeah.
Right?
Tit sweats. Call it
You
tit
know
sweats.
what I mean? I mean, I'm not saying I want a bra. Like, why is it okay? It's not okay for a guy to wear a bracelet. Well, it kind of is, some bracelets.
Yeah.
But it's okay for you to wear one of them tennis wrist things.
Yeah.
Those,
Like a real band.
yeah, those headbands for your wrists. Those wristbands. Those ones, red, white, and blue. Remember those?
Yeah.
Dude, I used
That
to
would
wear
match
those when
the
I was
one
a
on
kid.
your head.
I thought I was the coolest fucking dude on earth. I had those wristbands with red, white, and blue on them. Like, that's right.
Tube socks pulled high up to the
Fuck
knee.
Yeah, all the way up. Yeah. What were those things called? What'd you call
Wristbands.
those?
Yes,
But like
wristbands.
tennis wristbands?
You had the headband and the wristband, and they'd match.
Yeah, I probably had a headband too.
I had one that was pretty badass.
You know what was a big...
It wasn't two though. You just go the one. You just go on the left. That was the cool move.
There was a time, I don't remember what the time was, but there was a time when... that's it right there. Sock Tower, what does it say?
Yeah, red, white, and
Sock
blue,
Tower,
baby.
2 pieces
That's
large.
just the company selling that, I think.
Yo,
Yeah.
son, we're gonna order those as soon as we get off the show. I'm gonna wear next time Tom Papa and I do a podcast. I'm wearing them red, white, and blue wristbands. Kids,
Oh, that'd be awesome. I literally had that.
fresh, very fresh.
It felt cool.
yeah.
It
felt like you're on
felt
top
real
of the
cool. Why aren't those popular
What
anymore?
was, what was I gonna say though about? I was gonna say something. about
Wristband.
Oh God damn it! This
Son of a
alcohol
bitch.
and marijuana combination.
Being allowed to wear them. Have it for a guy working out, sweat, boobs.
Throwing a lot of information my way.
These are all words that you were
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Why is it
Well-
okay for a man to walk around with no shirt on and women can't? Was that what you were gonna say?
Well, that's obvious. I mean, women
Because
should
they'll
be
be
able
attacked.
to. They definitely can. But I've talked about this before. I think, where I said I wouldn't recommend it to a friend.
What?
I'd be like, don't go out there with your tits hanging out.
Yeah.
Like if a friend tried to ask me if they think that they should exercise that right to freedom, I'd
Yeah.
be like, I don't want to get harassed. You don't want to get harassed.
Right.
Like, would you wear like bikini underwear and walk through a gay neighborhood on Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. when the ecstasy just kicked in?
Yeah, no. You're a piece of meat.
How good do you think you'd feel walking through like a super duper gay neighborhood with like little bikini briefs on?
Crossing San Vicente and
And
Santa
then
Monica.
if for whatever reason you obviously shave your chest.
It's
Like,
funny.
maybe
there's-
your chest is smooth as baby butt, but your back has hair on it.
It's
So
funny
everyone's
because
like,
you're
"What
setting
the
it up as a
fuck?"
predatory kind of scenario,
Yeah.
but all I'm thinking is, would they think I was okay?
Would they like me?
Would they like
Think
me?
they'd hit on me? Would you be pumped or disgusted?
You don't want the hassle. That's what I tell
Right.
I mean,
If you got circled.
I understand that there's like a cool movement now, and it's a time where women should be able to go out there and dress the way you want to dress. It's not their problem. It's the guy's problem. Let's correct the guys rather than us.
Right.
I love that. But there's a lot of guys that haven't been corrected yet who are going to hassle you and follow you in the parking lot.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Those guys
Still.
aren't woke. Once everyone's all woke,
Woke
it'll be
is,
great.
Woke's a dangerous word to use. I feel like people are going to mock it in the future.
Woke?
Woke.
Yeah.
I feel like using woke now, like unironically, is super slippery. I see a trap coming.
You do?
The jiu-jitsu practitioner in me is like, I don't like this move. This is, I know where this leads. I'm like, this is
You're
a trap.
totally right.
This is how I feel.
Yeah.
I see that woke thing. I'm like, what are you woke? What the fuck does that even mean?
I
You
don't
woke
know.
up? You woke up? What are you, 12?
Well, it
know?
comes from my 16-year-old, so yeah.
Yeah, these kids today.
But what does woke mean? It means your brain is open. You're open to stuff.
The
You're
problem is there's no real quantification. There's no real test you take to show that if you're woke.
Right.
Right? Like if you want to be a mathematician, you have to fucking show that you know how to do math.
Yeah.
The professors, they check your work. Like you get through, like, yes, congratulations, Tom Papa.
Yeah.
You are a mathematician. You have a PhD in mathematics.
It says so right here on the paper.
And you're like, God damn it, I'm going to put that shit on my wall so you understand. I know how this stuff works.
Yeah.
But wokeness, anybody can claim to be a master of wokeness. It's like kung fu without fighting. It's very dangerous.
Yeah. No,
No
I
one's
hear you.
defined what's woke and what's preposterous. No one's defined what's just not racist and not sexist and not homophobic, but open-minded and aware of the failings and the misgivings of all sides, all of us, and with no bias.
Right.
Is that woke? Because it doesn't seem like it is.
Isn't that woke?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think you just described what I thought it was.
I would like that, but too many people could jump in. There's no real clear understanding of like what makes and constitutes someone being woke.
Like, yeah, how many of those boxes do you have to check?
Right.
Like,
If
where
it
does
was
it
like
stop?
if Tom Papa had a woke academy,
Right.
and you took these people through
It would just be, do you like bread or not like bread?
yeah, claiming wokeness
you-
is super slippery. What's this, Jamie?
1962 New York Times Magazine article about being woke.
Whoa,
Wow.
this is crazy.
If you're
oh my
woke,
God.
you dig it. Look, if you're woke, you dig it.
Oh my God.
That's the perfect definition right
insane.
there. If you're woke, you dig it.
That is insane.
That was my fox, man. And you were copying my taste and grit.
Wow.
Don't jump salty on me.
Whoa, look how they talked back then. They were trying to talk people into talking in a way that made them seem more interesting. I'm going to say it the way I would say it if I lived back then. Hey, make it bigger so I can see it.
You be the guy on the left.
Jamie,
Read it, but can't.
no, scroll so we could read what they were
His
saying.
comments.
Yeah.
What he's saying up top. Yeah.
Okay.
That was.
That was my fox, man.
And you were
And
copying my taste
my
and grit.
taste and grit.
So how would you say that now?
That was my fox, man.
Maybe it's girl.
And you were copying my taste and grit. Of course it's girl, Jamie.
That was my girl. And
So you
you,
guys say it.
That's what he's saying.
I know it says Fox anymore.
No, that's what they said. Oh, what words would you use today?
yeah.
Hey,
you would
dude,
say.
the fuck are you doing with my girlfriend, dickhead?
And he said, "Don't jump salty on me." I would say, "Hey, we're cool.
No,
No
it would
worries.
be
No
like,
worries.
Stop being such a bitch.
It's all good. It's all good."
Yeah, and then it'd be like, what? Someone's a bitch? And then next thing you know, people would be hitting each other. That's the darkness in all men. Who are these two gentlemen to the
So I
right
was
and
just
to the
thinking,
left?
It says Noah Webster. I think that might be like Webster's dictionary guy.
And who's the other
yeah.
guy? Peter
I
what?
can't tell.
Peter-
Peter in the
It looks a
dictionary
little
that
squirrely.
Can't tell.
Peter Legacy.
The letters are all blurred, right?
I love that.
Talks
But I
about
love that.
thesaurus and-
If you're woke, you'll dig it.
Yeah, if you're woke, you dig it. That sums it up, man. If you're woke, you dig it. After a
How'd you find this, Jamie? Go back to
I
that.
typed in, it's like know your meme.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So the meme of the word woke.
Yeah.
Wow.
Stay woke.
Look at that little image, though. Scroll back up so we can see it again. That's so strange. Like, imagine if that was contemporary.
Yeah.
Like, if that was your word. Like, imagine if hipsters all of a sudden started wearing tails to their jackets. If they just decided, like, this is the next level. We're going to
Yeah.
wear bow ties and those tails.
It wouldn't be surprising because that's all about just I'm doing what you guys don't do, so I'm
Right.
going tails.
What a weird look, though.
That is so weird.
That's a look that, like, okay, so like the guy in the center,
It's like
with the hat
Alexander-
on,
yeah.
those two guys, both the guys in the center, those guys will fly today.
Oh, totally.
The guy on the left that like looks like he's dressed like he's
That looks like me on the road.
yeah, I mean, but he looks like he's in a Quentin Tarantino movie or something,
Yeah,
right? Looks like he's a Reservoir Dog. That's totally normal, right?
Yeah, black
He's in the
suit,
Matrix.
Black suit, tie.
That
fedora.
guy could go to any restaurant anywhere and no one would even bat an eye. They go, "Hello, sir. Can I help you?" Boom, walk
Yeah.
right in. Go
But
back
the guy-
to that image.
the guy
Jamie.
next to him,
But those two guys on the ends, like, what in the fuck are they?
he's got a coat with tails
Yeah.
and those pants that are like flat across your crotch where it looks like you have no privates.
Here's a good way to look at it. Imagine if you're dating a gal and her
Your
parents
best
going to
gal.
come over. And you're like, you're really going to love my dad. He's an amazing guy. He's real old school. And dad comes over dressed like that with coattails.
Yeah.
And you start feeling like you're in that movie Get Out.
And he's got a handlebar mustache.
Yeah.
He's got tails.
Yeah.
Weird pants with the go into funny shoes.
Did you see Get Out?
Yeah.
I finally watched it during Sober October.
Oh, you did?
It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, that's.
But
the
that's
real
what you
deal.
would be thinking if that guy was dressed like that. That the daughter was going to lead you to something, and you have to run for your life.
But it is weird how like that suit has lasted
Yeah.
a long time.
Well, this was 1960, so I'm assuming that it was mocking the style of old. So by the time 1960 rolled around, the guys in the middle were dressed contemporary, but the guys in the end, they're like making fun of people the way they used to dress,
Yeah.
kind of in a way, or at least that's what represents those people.
Well, yeah. It just defines their time. That guy was
Yeah.
probably around the 1800s. This
So
guy's from the
whoever
40s.
those other guys are, do you know who those guys are?
I believe Noah Webster.
Webster,
is the guy that
From
wrote
the
yeah,
Webster Dictionary.
That's why he's got the pen and he's
Right.
scratching his head as that guy's putting out his
Right.
slang.
So his slang is making Webster
Webster.
go, what the fuck?
That's not how you really say it.
So it'd be like the Urban Dictionary. Like
Right.
Jamie and I sometimes get confused. We have to pull up the Urban Dictionary and find out what the real word of a word means. So let's pull up woke
Yeah, there
as
you go.
it's represented today. You know,
Woke.
no disrespect, no cultural appropriation intended. The fact that it was invented actually in the 60s is really weird. It's
Yeah.
just making a
I was
comeback.
just like looking around when I typed in like what is woke to see if there's anything interesting.
If you dig it, you woke.
What does it say? Aware, knowledgeable about your community and the world, with the willingness to access and critique systems of oppression.
Well, that the end
The
of
last
it.
part
the
gets a
last
little
part.
squirrely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I mean, for sure, if it really is a system of oppression. But how do we decide what's a system of oppression and what is
Sounds like you need Jordan Peterson.
weird human behavior that represents
Then
the
what
way
do you
men
mean
and
by
women
that?
interact with each other on a grand scale? I mean, that's just like there are some legitimate systems of oppression. Right?
Yeah, for real.
It's like figure out which one it is.
Yeah.
But putting that in like that's what woke is. Like, how do you define what the systems of like where's the line get drawn?
Right.
Is the line? Like, why do women have certain jobs? Why do men have certain jobs? How much of that is because of influence? How much of that is because of their choices? How much of that is just because of natural proclivities towards certain things?
Well, then you're talking about people that are coming after the hierarchy. And if they're coming after the hierarchy, who's to say that those people aren't part of the problem? I love Jordan Peterson the way he's just like hammers. Just
Yeah.
Well, then what are you saying? Then who are you? What are you? You're buying into the hierarchy. I just love like the exasperation in his voice. No, but
Yeah.
it's true. It's like then
It is true.
that woke definition was like, oh, I'm with you. This is all about being nice and kind, and then at the end, it's about attacking.
Right, but here's the crazy thing is the end part about attacking is where it gets weird because Jordan Peterson is a guy who gets regularly attacked and misrepresented, like especially in terms of like that he's somehow or another a racist because some racists like him. I've heard that argument. It's a crazy argument. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
He's not a racist by any stretch of the imagination. He believes in individuals.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's
and
more Ayn Rand
Yeah.
than anything.
I never say that right. I know her name's Ayn Rand, but I always say Ayn Rand.
Oh, really?
I have like a natural instinct to fuck it up.
But it really is like his thing is, it's like the power of the individual and responsibility in doing your thing.
Yes.
And he's
getting
under
your shit
attack, of
together.
course, during this time. Of course, he's under attack.
But he's also under celebration.
yeah.
He's been celebrated as well as attacked, but much more celebrated. He's under celebration more than he's under attack.
It's nice to hear that viewpoint articulated in such a clear, concise way.
He's a genuine sweetheart of a guy, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if people knew him, I think, part of the thing is some of his views are very powerful and polarizing to some folks who have a specific idea of how things are and what things should be and what represents transphobia, what represents sexism. And, these are all fascinating discussions as long as everybody's like just being rational and being honest about it. But
yeah. It's good. It's moving. It's moving the discussion forward. It's like you should hear all sides, and you should hear. I mean, what he's saying is, in a lot of ways, is like very true and very real. And it's like
right, but
the presentation of it in these times, it's like that. He's very brave because he knows that anything he says, there's going to be a shitstorm in response.
Well, he's very brave in that respect, but he's also very brave in that he's done a tremendous amount of research on all these different subjects that he's talking about. And when he talks about something from a scientific perspective, he's not talking about it because it aligns with his beliefs.
Right.
And he will, in fact, highlight things that don't align with his beliefs and show that he has a hole in some of his thinking. He'll pause in mid-sentence and goes, well, I guess I'm wrong then.
Right.
He'll say
It's
things
cool to
like
hear.
that. He has 100% intellectual honesty.
Yeah.
He's not scared to take on this system of the way people think and behave. And this system works both for really progressive, open-minded people that support most of the things that you and I probably support. And the system is also in place for people that have more stringent, conservative viewpoints.
Yeah.
And we have to look at everybody honestly.
Right.
If you want to debate whether someone's opinions are one thing or the other, yeah, absolutely, I'm with you 100%. The problem is when you start calling someone a racist,
Yeah.
and calling someone a racist because you think that racists like him, or calling someone a sexist because you think that sexists like him,
Yeah.
or because he says things that you don't agree with. If you don't agree with them and you just dismiss them as this really shallow sexist opinion, the problem is other people are going to read what you're saying, they're going to look into it, and it's going to seem silly.
Right.
Because the guy has volumes and volumes and volumes that you could read, and that he has books, he has all these different lectures where he discusses these things, podcasts where he discusses these things in really complex and well thought out ways that you can't say is racist.
And what's
He's just not.
unfortunate is that he presents this stuff. We should then, our responsibility is to deal with the stuff, deal with the ideas.
Yeah.
Not what does it matter who he is, how he talks, what
He's
he is,
not a
what you
hate
think,
monger.
and who cares?
But the problem is if you
the
call
idea
him
is,
one.
the idea is what we should all then. Oh, thank you. Take it whether you like him or
Yes.
not. Take it and then wrestle that idea and move it forward.
100%. But we
Yeah.
also have to be aware that there's a real problem in calling someone a monster who's not a monster.
Right.
Because then when real monsters come along,
Yeah.
you already used that word up.
Right.
This is like, you have to be careful because there's real racists in the world. There's real bad people.
Yeah.
So calling someone a bad person just because you don't agree with them, you fall into a very slippery ideological trap, and a lot of times people do it just to get attention.
Yeah.
They want to throw their hat into the ring. They want their say. They
Right.
want to get it out. They want to make an impact. They want that love.
Yeah, they want to be part of that.
They want to be part of the discussion, and they
Right.
might have very strong beliefs that they think are correct. But I guarantee if those strong beliefs are that Jordan is a racist, you don't know him well. There's no
Right.
way you could.
Right.
And there's no way you're really familiar with a lot of the things that he says about race.
Right.
Because he doesn't say anything racist. He talks in terms of, I mean, he always emphasizes individuals as
that's
being the most important thing.
That's that Ayn Rand thing. It's not about that. It's about the person, you, responsible for you, doing
Yes.
you, despite whatever comes at you, because everything's always going to come at you.
Yeah, it's not a denial of racism. Racism is fucking horrible. But
Yeah.
what it is a saying that like we can all figure out a better way to navigate this than the shitty way that racists and bad people have done in the past.
Right. You know what was kind of racist? I wanted to put African Americans in my Christmas village.
Couldn't.
And you go online and try and look up African American figurines for whatever. It's not good. They haven't.
Oh, no.
Talk about not yet woke. You've
Oh,
got
no.
there are prisoners. There's prisoners. There's like there's not a lot of like just regular families. There's definitely a lot more of white people.
Okay, let's guess this. Let's guess this before we look it up.
Yeah.
Because this might be one of them untapped things that people forgot to get outraged about.
Yeah.
Is it possible that you can buy a ceramic slave?
Yes.
You think so?
Well, through a store, maybe not.
On the internet?
eBay for sure.
Really?
Yes. You know how much stuff was put out into the culture of like alfalfa kind of representations of kids and slave children, and
How about that?
there was, I went through my grandmother's like keepsakes at one point, like a shoebox of stuff, and she just had a postcard from her friend. It was two like black kids eating watermelons. And I was like, Grandma, what the hell is this? I was like, 15. She's like, oh, it's just a joke. But
Whoa.
she wasn't, I only bring it up because that was circulated. That was being pumped out all the time in the culture. So there's definitely stuff you can get secondhand on eBay.
Jamie's got a big smile on his face. This could be a real
I
problem.
found a lot of different slave stuff, like Roman slaves and slaves that like
As long as they're white slaves, we're good.
you pay
Show
them.
me some
So like
Roman slaves that are dressed like they were in that Gladiator
Roman
movie.
slaves.
That Gladiator movie. Remember?
Yeah. Oh my
He was
God.
a slave.
Yeah.
He had to fight.
get some here.
Okay, so this is it's not American. So all those slaves are like, isn't that interesting? Like it can't be like, it's got to be like, I didn't do it. I didn't fucking put them guys. None of my people made them people slaves. Fuck that, bro. Right? Like you have to have Middle Eastern, ancient.
It starts getting a little squirrely.
100
here.
BC.
Like- The
Rowers.
Rose. But those are white people.
They're gray 3D printed. They haven't been painted.
They look like Henry Fonda.
They're up to the person who buys them, to make them as accurate as they
Right.
They look like Henry Fonda,
like
or
House of
Kirk
Cards style.
Douglas.
They got some white ass features though.
Yeah.
White hair. They got white people hair.
All right.
I mean,
Just put up racist dolls.
I didn't.
I'm
I
sure
didn't.
you'll-
I
I'm
was
sure they'll
trying to
come up.
go as innocuous as possible.
It seems like an easy search.
Don't get on a fucking list, Jamie.
Yeah.
Let's just end this.
I'm trying to stumble across it instead of actually
Yeah, you're
seeking
good.
it
Good
out.
call, sir. Good call. Yeah. You just don't want certain things typed in.
No, exactly.
It's like that Alexa thing. Do you have an Alexa at home?
Yeah,
Alexa's listening right now.
I know.
That bitch.
My friend told me you really should take that off. And I'm like, why? I'm like, it's only when I talk. She's like, no, they listen all the time. There was another murder case, and they confiscated the Alexa because they know the Alexa will have information from the last 4 days up to the murder.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
but it still plays my music, so I'm keeping it.
You don't care. You're not killing anybody. So what is this? A doll that you could make a
Lego.
slave?
It says, it's like this is saying like it's not Lego. I'm
Lego.
sorry, Playmobil or something.
Oh,
You're
some
supposed to put
bullshit
this
Lego ripoff. He's got Lego hands.
chain around his neck.
I'd be mad if I bought that. I thought it was a Lego. Isn't that
That's-
funny? Like, even if it was really
That's what
cool, if
offends
you were
you.
a kid, your parents, like you said, I want Legos, and your parents brought you that, you're like, bitch, this is not Legos. This is some whack ass.
They're supposed to represent a pirate who was formerly a slave in historical context. Is what they,
That's hilarious.
It's easier to write that sentence than to make a new Lego.
He was a former slave in a historical context.
Come on.
What does that mean?
I don't know. That means
Represent a pirate who was a former slave in a historical context.
that means he escaped.
I know, but it's a weird way to put it, isn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't that weird?
that's so funny.
That is so ridiculous. Racist toy instructions? That's a news title. With a question mark.
Yeah.
Those fucking misleading news titles.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Racist toy instruction? Tune in after the break.
They made them fairly light. Notice how conservative they were? They didn't make them super dark.
Yeah.
Even they knew that was that we can't
They
write
couldn't
this
get away
one
with
off.
that.
We can make them kind of brownish. Right? That guy looked like he had a tan. Looked like he was like a Spaniard.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Inigo Montoya.
Yeah.
You killed my father, prepare to die. Like that's what he looked like. He didn't like if he looked like a Spaniard on a holiday where they caught a nice tan.
Are you saying even the racist toy maker was like, no, dude, don't go too dark?
Yes, I'm saying the racist toy maker was like, you know what? We gotta play it safe.
Go with this color.
Yeah, shoot for Guatemala. That's it. That's all I'm looking for.
Do you go to mass on Christmas?
No,
No mass at all.
I go to Willy Wonka's Golden Chocolate Factory.
What?
No, it's all nonsense, man.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
I don't know. I'm just asking. Tradition because you grew up that way.
No, I never grew up that way.
You
I
didn't?
Went to, I
You
went
didn't
to
have
Catholic
church when you were a
school.
kid?
Yeah, we did, but it was for a very short amount of time. To say I grew up that way would be hard because I was out by the time I was out of first grade.
Oh
They
yeah.
were talking about putting me back in for second grade, but we moved from New Jersey to San Francisco, and we didn't find a Catholic school. And it's, Catholic schools cost money too.
Right.
Went to public school after that, but I was just done. I hated it.
Yeah.
I was in fear of those fucking crazy people.
And your parents didn't take you to church or make you go to
They
church?
did a little bit. I think the idea was back then that if you had kids, you wanted your kids to go to Catholic school. There's a lot of people that did that in that neighborhood when I was
Right.
little. It was just a normal thing you did.
Yeah.
And they were more strict. And dude, one thing that was for sure though, Like, I had a conversation with my mom about it once. She was like, your grades were way better when you went in your Catholic school. And I was like, yeah, because I was fucking terrified to get them wrong.
They beat the shit out of
I
you.
don't want to live like that. They never beat me.
No?
But they definitely threatened me.
Really?
Yeah, they threatened to make me sit on a nail. You're going to have to sit on a nail in the closet and stay
God.
here all night. I hope you brought your blanket. They're like really mean. When you're like a little 6-year-old kid, like that's fucked up. It's just a weird feeling this to be stuck with these people for 9 months. And also for me, it's like my parents were splitting up at the time, so it was very confusing.
Yeah.
And then I wanted things to have order to them, so I wanted God to make sense. Like,
Uh-huh.
I remember annoying people with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like 6 years old.
What do you mean?
I'd annoy people talking about what God wants.
What do you mean? Like you would?
God says this. God wants that. Like I would say that.
Oh,
when
you
I was,
would bug-
like 6 years old. Yeah.
Right.
Because I was a little kid who was dealing with my parents splitting up, and there didn't seem to be any order in the world, and I was very nervous. Right. So when I went to Catholic school, when I first got there, I was happy that I was going to go to Catholic school. But then as I experienced it, at 6 years old, I started going, this is ridiculous. This doesn't make any sense. I'm like, first of all, these people are so mean. They're obviously being mean and nasty. They're not comforting and loving.
Right.
And I was thinking as a 6-year-old, comparing them to the way like my grandma was or my mother was. Like these ladies are nasty.
Right.
Like, why are they
Interesting.
being so mean? And I'm like, they don't represent God. And I was like, this is crazy.
Wow. At
And then-
6.
And then you could see kids getting in trouble because their parents hadn't paid for their lunch or and there was like this really, you tell your father to get that money in. Like there was this weirdness to it that just didn't seem loving, or it didn't seem like what I thought of when I thought of, Christ, and when I thought of, it seemed to me like, oh no, this is a dark little trap that you
Wow.
can get sucked into. So
That's what's remarkable about that is not just the age, but that you went from really, really needing it in a very real way because of what was happening with your family to like normally you wouldn't turn that quickly.
Oh,
like
man.
within a year, it sounds
yeah,
like,
by the time I was
or
7,
2. Yeah.
it was over by the time I was out of there.
Usually that change doesn't happen for 15, 20 years.
Well, outside of beating me or doing something sexual to me, the mind fuck of dealing with those mean, nasty ladies scared the shit out of me. I remember crying. They were calling me a baby because I was crying.
Ugh.
I was like, whoa.
Just not knowing how to deal with human beings.
Yeah, when you're a 6-year-old and this is going down, you're like, what have I done?
Yeah.
Like I went from always being with my mom or being with my grandma or my
Right.
grandfather. I was like, everything was cool. And then all of
Right.
a sudden you're going to school. And this is what you're doing in school. I didn't go to kindergarten. I went to first grade. That was the first thing I went to.
Right.
And so all of a
Oh, wow.
sudden, the first grade is like instantaneously being connected to these crazy ladies.
Jesus.
I was like, oh no. it's
Yeah.
Poor. And then I would think about them. And I would think, what kind of, like, and I was thinking about why they're so mean. I remember being like 6 years old thinking this.
Right.
And then I'm just like, nobody probably loves them. Like they don't have a family.
Yeah, they don't have a boyfriend.
kids. They don't have a boyfriend. They
Yeah.
don't. I didn't think at the time they don't have a girlfriend, but maybe they do. Holla.
Right.
But
yeah.
for sure they didn't. The whole thing was that they didn't have anything.
No connection with another human being.
Right.
What
So-
could be lonelier or more anger-inducing?
Yeah, it was just dark. They weren't loving people.
Do any of your children
No.
ask about it? They don't even
No.
bring it up?
We've talked about God,
Yeah.
and my basic take is Jordan Peterson said something really lovely. He said he behaves as if God is real.
Yeah.
He behaves as if God exists.
Interesting.
Not that he believes God exists, because that's sort of it's
Yeah.
a bit of an intellectual trap, right?
Mhm.
If you say, do you believe God exists? Like, okay, define God.
No, then you're
What
in the
does that
weeds.
mean?
Yeah.
Because do you think that I think that there's a city in the clouds? No, I don't.
Right.
No, I don't.
But do you think that there's an energy, like we were talking
Is it
before? like-
possible
yeah.
that there's something bigger than all this thing? Well, there's bigger than everything. Like if you talk to an ant and said, "Hey man, do you think there's cities with skyscrapers and airplanes?" Like, what are you, fucking moron? Get out of here, bitch! I'm trying to drag this dead bug around.
How are you talking anyway?
I got time for your fucking galaxy talk,
Yeah.
universe talk. Get the fuck out of here with your 5G, bitch. I got time. I'm dragging this bug.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in our perspective, when we're talking
Yeah.
about things, it's like we're so small. We're the way we interface with reality is so crude, even though it's amazing.
Yeah, but I like the idea of the not going into the whole intellectual discussion about God, but just like,
Yeah.
just
Who knows?
Just kind of act like he
Yeah.
does exist.
It's a great way to
It does
live.
make you. It does make you act a little kinder.
Yeah.
It's like a parent figure. It's like, okay, we're not going to do this because it's going to make them unhappy.
I try to do what when I'm at my best, I try to treat people as if they're me living another life. Treat people as if they're just don't think people as a bother
Yeah.
or and it's hard to do. It's hard to do, especially when you're busy or when you have your kids with you or when you're trying to get something done.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
I
But
try and walk around thinking everybody is drowning in insecurity.
Right.
That really kind of makes me give people a pass in the biggest and smallest ways. Everybody, when you see people hustling, doing whatever, businessman, businesswoman, looks like she's on top of her game.
Yep.
Person like on the subway who's obviously going someplace they don't want to go with no money in their pocket. If you realize we're all just drowning in insecurity, it just makes you just give them a little bit of a pass. That's been where my head's been at lately.
That's a great place to keep your head.
Because we all are. Everyone's balled up. Everyone, even the person you admire the most, is like, ah.
Well, we were talking about earlier about the traps that you fall into as you're trying to achieve and do things. You also fall into traps even with things that you love. And you can get so caught up in, the things that you love that you kind of forget to keep your when you're at your best, like what feeling, keep that in close range.
Yeah.
And if you feel it getting away from you because you're too tired, because you're working too much, because you pull that back.
Yeah.
Keep it at close range where you are operating at your best, but be respectful of that, right? And I think this is something that I've been guilty of in the past. I wasn't respectful of the energy that's required to be at your best. I just figure that I'll just do all these other things. Yeah, but I really firmly believe you only have so much bandwidth in a day. And this is coming from a person who pushes their bandwidth too hard all the time. I think you only have so much in a day. And when you get to a certain state, you wind up diminishing a lot. And then I think you wind up diminishing a lot of the other things that you do. Like if you have 7 things cooking in the background on your phone, it's not going to move as fast.
Right.
Allegedly. Actually, it does work that way, right? Some computers. But I think that people do that too. You have too many things cooking at the same time.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah,
all the time.
All the time.
And then you take 20 minutes of transcendental meditation and take your nervous system and put it on restart and just let it wash out.
Are you hypnotizing me, bro? This thing in your hand is freaking me out.
Let it wash out 20 minutes.
Okay.
Because we're all under that all the time, 100% frazzled, no matter how hard you're pushing or just coasting. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that nervous system's shot.
Right.
We're all the same.
How do you do
20 minutes.
What do you do? Talk me through it.
You take your nervous system, and the result of it is you come out and you've rebooted the system, and you can now have a good part of the second part of your day.
Do you have a technique you use? Do you use an app?
No, I went to I went to a transcendental meditation teacher.
Whoa.
And without the hippy dippy, that's the biggest part of it. It literally makes you realize just what you said. We're all just frazzled and running out of steam at a certain point.
Yeah.
Your nervous system is shot. All that stuff that's happened just between 7 o'clock and 3 o'clock, whatever would happen, that nervous system has been dealing with a ton of stimulus all day long. That meditation gives you a reboot, and you can it's like a needed thing that's better than sleep, that it actually yearns for. I'm telling you, since I really started dialing it in and did it, the best way I can describe it is that it added another 4 hours to my day.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How so?
Because I would just be limping across the finish line. I'd be exhausted. I'd be trying to do, and with motivation, and I work really hard, I would push through and get to maybe, 2 hours more of what I needed to accomplish. When you do this effortlessly, without struggle, I'm able to just sail like I did between 9 and 12 that day.
Really?
Yes, 100%.
Do you think by using this practice, you're alleviating tension, so you're more efficient with your energy? Like, what makes you?
That's part of it, but it really is taking this nervous system that is dealing with the outside world all the time and just giving it a real practical way to shut down, flatline, and then come back on the grid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it like your physical body needs a rest, your things need to be rebooted. Your nervous system is kind of this thing that operates all the time that we're not really that conscious of. We're not really that aware that how hard it's working. And this is a way to pay attention to it and give it a chance to regenerate.
That's interesting. And how long have you been doing this?
You know, I meditated for since college, just out of reading books. And then probably about 3 years ago, my friend said, who always did transcendental meditation, he said, go just see if it dials you in. It actually, the stuff you're doing, the way you talk about meditating, it sounds more laborious. It sounds like you're doing too much work. Just go talk to this guy. And I did. For 3-4 sessions, I went and just talked to this guy here in LA who's a transcendental meditation teacher. And he just explained it and dialed me in on it. And for the last 3-4 years, I haven't missed a day.
Wow.
And
3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
Every day?
Every day.
7 days.
7 days.
No cheat day.
No cheat day.
How long?
No need for a
20
cheat
minutes?
day. It's the opposite of what you want from a cheat day. It's like 20 minutes. If you can get 2 in, that's the best. If you can get 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, then you're like Superman.
Wow.
But if you can get 1 in, I'm telling you.
Start to finish, how long?
20.
20 minutes.
20.
And you do this every day?
Every day.
Wow.
Every day.
Maybe that makes sense, man. Because one of the things that people remark about you is how easygoing you are. Like people said, dude, I love when Tom Papa's on your podcast because it's so easygoing. Like you guys gel so well together. You flow together.
Yeah. It's
like you're tuned into something.
We're just present together. We're just, we're both,
Yeah.
You're kind of not struggling.
Right.
And that's what it teaches you. This is a big roaring river.
Yeah.
And it lets you just kind of go underneath, catch your breath, and then come back up into it.
Yeah. Do you feel that way when you exercise? Do you feel like when you exercise that you get into like a zone and you reset your brain?
For sure.
Yeah.
I feel less depressed when I exercise.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in a funk and I'm like, I don't want to, and I go for a run, I'm like, my day's different.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like that funk is trying to hold on to control too. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like it's tricking your brain.
Yeah.
Thinking, dude, you feel like shit today. I was like, let me just put these goddamn shoes on and go run.
Yeah.
You
feel so good. But the meditation is different. The meditation is like the run will give me energy. I won't feel so shitty. I'm like, I'm okay. I feel good. I feel alive and whatever. But the meditation, in a very subtle way, 5 hours later, when you're faced with a stressful situation, you don't feel as stressed as you normally would.
Yeah.
Because it's just your nervous system, which is very powerful, has been rebooted and is now able to go and deal with another situation. You should go see him.
Okay. I'll do it.
I'll give you the name of the guy. He's amazing. I mean, he's not amazing. It's not a guru. It's not the one sperm guy. It is not about him.
$1 million.
It's not about a religion. It's not about a people.
For a drop of my sperm.
This guy will not give you his sperm. He's just delivering the message of this little practice, which is it's not hippy dippy. It's very practical.
You can use it.
Yeah. That's the best part of it.
Have you tried the tank before, the float tank?
No.
Would you be interested in doing it? We have one here. You can use it anytime you want. I would like to hear what your take on it is.
Yeah.
Especially if you wanted to practice those techniques in there.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really interesting. It's a crazy environment, man.
That would be great.
Yeah, you should do it.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
For sure. Not today. I'm drunk.
You don't have to do it today. But there's also, there's a bunch of big places around too. There's the Float Lab down in Venice, and they have one at Westwood, and then what's the big place that's in Pasadena has the biggest one in the world.
And people come in like a gym and go float?
You sign up, go in there and float. Pasadena's got a giant...
Just Float.
Yeah, Just Float in Pasadena. Shoot, don't they have like 40 fucking float tanks or some crazy shit? I don't know how many they have, but I think they use all Float Lab stuff too.
That would be cool. You know, it's another interesting thing. If you get the morning one in, you know how sometimes you wake up, you've slept, you went to bed at 11,
Right.
you're up at 7, but you're exhausted because your night's sleep was restless. You got up to pee a couple times. Who knows? You look back at your bed, it was just a disaster. You do those 20 minutes before you go about your day, just before the kids get up, just get 20 minutes in. It's like it was more valuable than what you tried to accomplish in that 8 hours spinning around in the sheets. Like,
Well, especially for someone like you, right, whose job is to create things,
yeah.
right? To put your mindset into a particular place is super beneficial
Yeah.
if you're just creating things all the time.
Totally. But it's for everybody.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
literally
sure.
like
Yeah.
we're all just human beings just struggling every day, going out doing all this stuff. And it's like you could be, you know, a single mom living in a city, taking the bus to work after dealing with your kids and go. Her nervous system is being bombarded.
Yeah.
20 minutes just to kind of sitting there on the bus. You could do it on the bus with all this other. It's not a pristine thing. It's not a hippie thing. It's not an. I was going to say elegant, but it is kind of elegant. It's not a special thing. It really is just like a controlled nap in a way. And it just gives you more to go on. Everybody, no matter what you're creating, no matter what you're doing, we're all under assault all the time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not, you know,
Well,
don't
just-
equate it to war, but there's like bombardments of
Yes.
energy and stuff that's coming after you all the time. You have to kind of tend to the system that's dealing with that.
Yeah. I think anything that gives you a perspective reshift or reboot is great.
Yeah.
Anything. You know, whether it's going for a swim in the ocean, you know, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Something that gives you a perspective reboot. We get caught in some pretty gross ruts.
Yeah.
You know?
Perspective reboot is a cool way to say it.
Yeah. I think we have these views of the world. Sort of, we have this these patterns that we sort of recognize. We see them. They're out there, and we get locked into them, and we're just visiting the same websites and seeing the same people and doing the same things every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need something different. You
Yeah.
need
To knock you out.
You need something that gets you to think about other stuff.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's going to a place. This is why travel is so good. I used to never get travel when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was like, who the fuck wants to travel? I like being home. But I do like being home. But one of the things about travel is it allows you to experience the feel of someone's culture in real life. Like you're walking through the streets of Cologne, Germany. Like you're like, wow, this is how these people live. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You walk through the streets of Rome. You're like,
Takes you
this
out of
is-
yourself.
Yeah. It gives you this, first of all, it gives you this appreciation that there's different rules over here, but these are still people, modern people just like you.
Yeah.
And then some of your ancestors came from here.
Right.
But here they are with these different rules.
Millions of them.
Yeah, millions of them. And then they got people that are coming into them from Africa, and it's like, whoa, like this is crazy. Like this whole thing is like fascinating. This is and then you're around, you know, Pompeii, and you're seeing the ruins that where Mount Vesuvius erupted,
Yeah.
killed all these people, and you're wandering through all this stuff. Like this is fascinating.
Yeah.
man.
It's a long way from thinking about the 3 apps that you sit on your phone every day and get your
Yeah.
news and get your thing and check your
Yeah.
Instagram and check your Facebook.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother,
Mind blower.
oh my God, it's a
Yeah.
whole universe of
Yeah.
other stuff to think about.
Yeah.
That's why I love walking in New York. Like you have your routines of like where you're walking. Just get on the other side of the street and go the other direction.
You're a wild man.
It's a whole nother world. But really,
That's
it's like
hilarious.
just literally like when you're on your run with your dog and if you just look the other way from when you normally are like doing your thing, it's a whole nother perspective. It's a whole nother world. It's crazy.
Right.
But literally just looking the other way, running the other direction.
That's true.
But look, it's not a small thing because we like the order. We like that provides calm and safety if you're just going that same route all the time. But then there's a limit, I guess, and you end up, it starts acting negatively on your life and your
Right.
head.
If you're just a constant vagabond traveling around the globe, that's probably not positive either, right?
Yeah.
Always
I
going to a
don't
new
know.
place, never having a home.
I love home.
Yeah, I love home too.
I love home, which is so weird in a career where we have to travel so much.
Yeah,
But,
don't you think that? I hate to say like equate it to good and evil, but that there's some weird sort of balance in this life, and that we do really have to experience negative things to appreciate positive things for what they really are. If everything is positive, if you're the lottery winner when you're 5, and you win that golden power ticket, 500 million jammy when you're 5 years old,
and it's all made,
then you don't have to imagine you growing up.
It'd ruin your life.
You're like, listen, little Tommy, you never have to work again.
It would ruin your life.
What are you talking about? Grandpa bought you a lottery ticket when you were 5.
Yeah.
If you'd be so nice to give us some of that money, that would be nice. But you have $790 million. You're like, what? Grandpa? Yeah, Grandpa put it in a trust, and it's all yours, and you can have it when you turn 18. But you could give us some of it now. You just sign right here. Come on, Billy. Come on. You would be fucked. Imagine growing up being like Richie Rich.
Yeah,
You know?
no, you'd be a mess.
You'd be like, what the fuck?
You'd be a mess. You'd have a face full of cocaine, chasing this feelings that you can't get just from practical everyday work.
Can you imagine? Remember that fucking commercial, that cartoon, Richie Rich?
Oh yeah,
That
I used to
has
buy his
got-
comic books. Every year at the Jersey Shore, I'd get his comic books. He always had new ones.
That's got to be one of the weirdest cartoons of all time. A really rich kid.
Really
who
rich.
had all the money in the world. Well, all the poor kids would read it and go, fuck, I wish I was Richie Rich.
Man, this guy's got everything. He's
Look
got
at
his
him.
own go-kart.
Look at him sitting there.
He's got bachelors. He's got a sundae, chocolates.
I want my little dear boy comfy while he takes a nap. Tee-hee. And he says, oh, well, thanks, Mom.
Well,
And
thanks,
they bring
Mom.
over candy, and there's a butler dressed like that dude with the tailcoat, coincidentally.
But look
Right?
Look at the name of it. It's Richie Rich, the poor little rich boy. Right? That's what it
Yeah.
was. The poor
In
little rich boy. Because he's
all
not
taken
happy.
care of.
Because he's not happy.
Right. Look, he's really sad. Well, first of all, look at the size of his ankles. Jesus Christ. Kid's got gout.
He's got the gout.
He's got gout for sure. But the dude who's got the ice cream sundae, he's the same, dressed the same as. Go back to the picture, please. The dude with the ice cream sundae is the.
In the very top.
Yeah. He's wearing the same clothes that we were mocking in that other thing.
Ah, that's right. You're right. He's wearing the tails.
He's wearing that's the whole same jammy.
He's got the whole getup. The 1800s getup.
See, I used to think about a guy like that, like in The Shining or something like that.
Yeah.
Like when there's some butler, and I would think of, oh, that's a proper man. That's a man that he's the guy from The Shining, and he's just gonna come over and be proper,
Yeah.
and normal.
Normal.
But then as I got older, I realized, like, oh no, that's a guy.
It's just
That's
a dude.
just a guy, and this guy has this fucked up job where he has to dress like he lives in another time period and wait on all these rich white people. Like, what in the fuck is this?
That's a tortured man right there.
Like, if you were a serious black rapper, like one of them guys with diamond teeth, wouldn't you get a
Diamond
a
teeth.
white servant like that guy?
Yeah,
with
that's
that
so
exact
funny.
haircut?
All white butlers.
Yes, all white butlers. Just like super high-end guys from England.
Yeah.
They're professionals.
It's true. Why don't they do
He's
that?
a professional butler, sir. It's hilarious.
I love diamond teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What is
poor
this?
little Richie Rich. He wasn't happy.
His name's Cadbury.
Cadbury.
Perfect butler.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
Cadbury,
Cadbury.
the perfect butler. Cadbury was his butler. Look at him. Oh,
The
Cadbury.
perfect butler.
Bring over that sundae. Look at that other poor kid. He's all deformed and shit. He looks like he's evolving. That other kid looks like his grandparents were those Australopithecus. And Richie Rich is like, I'll show you what it's like to be rich.
Well, I
that
never
poor-
had this.
Neanderthal-looking fella.
I never sat at a table before.
Look at that. Blow that picture of that kid again up. Tell me he doesn't look Neanderthal-esque.
He does. He has a monkey
He
face.
fucking straight up does.
He does.
He's got total Neanderthal thing
his
going on.
ears are
His
real
nose
low.
Isn't quite big enough, but they definitely gave him some odd features.
He does look terrible.
Yeah, he's got a bald patch in the back of his head. Looks like he got a bullet wound. Someone tried to scalp him.
Oh, poor little guy.
Poor little fella.
What was his name?
I don't know. Fuckface. It's Richie Rich Cadbury and his friend Fuckface. Oh, girlfriends. He's got girls.
I had all these comic
Look
books.
at this. Look at all the girls.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
Hit the bullseye.
So is one of them his mom? The lady with the blonde hair is his mom, right?
Little Lotta is her name.
Oh, but the girl with the blonde hair is his
Right here.
mom,
It's
right?
Little Lotta.
Little Otta?
Lotta.
Lotta.
Their names are written down up here.
Oh,
Little Audrey,
Little
Lotta,
Lotta.
Little Dot, and then
Oh,
Gloria.
Christ.
They're all his girlfriends.
Little Lotta, get it? She's big. You get it?
I swear to God, I'm having flashbacks from every summer as a child. I'd go to this bookstore and there'd be comic books, and I would buy these little Richie Rich comic books and go home and read them.
Look, he's looking at his
Success
shadow.
stories.
It's his
A dollar symbol.
bills for his shadow. When is
He's got
a
a hot
rapper?
girlfriend.
When is a badass rapper gonna recreate this picture for the cover of his album? I think that would be perfect for like Gucci Mane.
Richie Rich, yo.
Come on, tell me that wouldn't be. Have him walk away.
Let me Google.
Because he might have already done it. Because he takes a lot of pictures with his lovely wife. That would be a perfect picture for Gucci Mane and his wife.
Funny.
Dollar bill behind him. Holla.
Dollar bill, y'all.
Cha-ka-ching. It's so weird, right? What a crazy idea for a comic strip.
Bay Area rapper named Richie Rich. So
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and I don't remember it being like they weren't really sending a message like money isn't important.
No.
They were
That was
literally-
awesome. Wouldn't you want to be Richie? That was the
moral.
Shit through. He could get ice cream whenever he wanted it. That was always the thing, too. They're always getting ice cream. Cadbury, the perfect butler. Frightfully fit.
Oh.
Yes, Mrs. Rich, one should keep fit. I exercise all the time.
How interesting, Cadbury. That's literally the lines. That's the comedy.
Look at the size of her arms.
Oh, they're like ham hocks.
Like she just mounts you and just wraps your head up in those arms and smothers you to death. You try to chew your way out, but you run out of air. You run out of air.
How
Kills you.
interesting,
She kills you with those
Cadbury.
meat flaps.
Get over here, Cadbury.
And if she's ever in trouble, she could literally leap off a building with those things and just glide to safety. Look at him.
Wow,
He's jacked.
Cadbury's
jacked. Fucking jacked,
He
dude.
takes off his. Look at him on the left. He's ripped.
jacked.
He's going into a hot tub. He's got a towel on and no shirt. He's ripped.
When did Cadbury became so? And look at him. What a butler. Whoa, homoerotic.
What a butler.
So strange. Wait a minute.
I've been keeping.
You're putting your.
Oh, God, look what he says there. Gosh, I've been keeping you from your bath, Cadbury. I'm sorry. Please go.
No need for apology, sir. Someday I shall relate this story of how I was once lost all my clothes at the South Pole.
And then he says, what a butler. As he's walking him walk away with his tiny little towel around his junk. Look how little that towel is. Where do you even find a towel that little that makes it way all the way around your ass?
Yeah, he's
Right?
It's
Like,
true.
Every other towel
One
that's that
small,
little,
long
your dick
towel.
would be hanging out, son. You got to make a choice. You covering your dick or you covering your asshole, but you're definitely not covering both. Well, the towel that's that width. What kind of strange snake-like towel are you possessing? Makes
6
it-
inches across, 12 feet long.
Yeah, Cadbury got on the juice, started lifting, got a fitness coach.
That's so funny. That was very homoerotic.
It was weird. They were allowed to do weird stuff back then. Imagine
Yeah.
if you had that cartoon today. Fucking feds would show up at your door.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom Papa, let's see your fucking hard drive.
Another one of the pedophile conspiracy.
Creepy piece of shit. The fuck you been up to? Tom Papa, let's wrap this up. This podcast is 5 hours long.
How long have we gone today?
3 hours and a half at least, right?
Close, yeah, 3:15.
3:15.
the best.
Tom Papa, it's so easy to talk to you,
3:15.
my friend. Do you have anything you're selling? You want
Thanks for
people
the
to know
wine.
about? My pleasure. Stick around for a while. I don't want you driving anywhere.
They can listen to my podcast.
Okay.
Come
Where's
to
that?
Papa.
Come to Papa. And what is this other thing? The NPR? Garrison
NPR
Keillor?
Live from Here. It's called Live from Here.
Live from Here?
Every week. 6 o'clock on your 6 o'clock East on your National Public Radio, whatever.
And when are you going to be at the lovely Comedy Store next?
Probably tomorrow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
You
Got to
wanna-
work out some stuff.
You want to do
Running
my
out of
sold-out
stuff.
show in the main room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tomorrow?
8 p.m. show.
I'm there.
Holla. Look
Sweet.
at that, folks. We just made a booking.
I'm on.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Cool. That's great.